Chapter 2157. Chapter 2157. Chapter 2157. To turn and walk away, the head chief has ordered that anyone who approaches the courtyard without permission, regardless of whether they are servants or disciples of the Zhao mansion, will be punished according to the family law. Let's not go over there. A disciple of the Zhao clan looked at the courtyard in the distance with anticipation. Then, he looked at the others hesitantly. Didn't you notice that the aura of the patriarch and the head chief have undergone a tremendous change? They might have already become true element boundary masters. Senior Beixian is our chance. If we don't go, will you and I be satisfied? A Zhao mansion disciple said in a low voice. Another person nodded and said, "This opportunity should belong to us, the younger generation. Even Shaoli and Dr. Ding have reached the true element realm. Our aptitudes are not any lower than theirs. Senior Beixian might accept us as his disciples. If that's the case, it'll be like reaching the sky in a single bound." "Alright then, let's go. What are you doing here?" An indifferent voice rang out from behind them. The disciples of the Zhao clan turned around, and a look of fear immediately appeared on their faces. They clasped their hands together and said, "Greetings, head supervisor." The chief steward looked at them calmly and said, "Didn't I tell you not to disturb Senior Beixian without permission? You are breaking the rules knowingly. How should you be punished?" "Head chief, we can't accept this." A Zhao mansion disciple raised his head and looked at the head chief steward. His eyes were filled with determination, as if he would rather be punished than give it a try. Seeing this, the chief sighed. "There will always be a chance, but not now. Do you understand? Go back." The few of them looked at each other and finally turned to leave. The head chief quickly walked to the courtyard and asked in a low voice, "Is Senior Beixian here?" The door opened slowly. The chief steward quickly stepped forward when he saw Ding Feng. "Dr. Ding, I've received news that Huang Batian has sent a message back to the palace. I heard that a Qi-controlling realm overlord will come to the Zhao mansion. Should we ask Senior Beixian to help us? Senior Beixian isn't here right now, but he's only at the Qi-controlling realm." Ding Feng smiled. The chief was slightly stunned and looked at Ding Feng in disbelief. Could it be that Dr. Ding had made another breakthrough in just 1 month? "Dr. Ding, have you already?" "Not bad." Ding Feng thrust out his palm, and true essence wildly surged out from his palm. This true essence fell onto a large tree not too far away, and that tree directly snapped in half. Seeing this, the head chief was shocked. Only martial artists in the Qi-controlling realm were capable of such a long-distance attack. First Miss and Shaoli. First Miss and Miss Shaoli also broke through a few days ago. Ding Feng nodded with a smile. There was a hint of envy in the chief steward's eyes. Some time ago, with Ning Qi's help, he had directly broken through to the second stage of the true element realm. At the same time, his aptitude for cultivation had also undergone earth-shaking changes. In recent days, he already had a hunch that he would break through to the third stage of the true element realm. Originally, he thought that in another 5 or 6 years, he would be able to break through to the Qi-controlling realm. Just when he was feeling happy about this, he did not expect Ding Feng's cultivation speed to be so much faster than his. The Hidden Cloud sect was really destroyed? On the mountain path, 2 figures were rushing forward. Their speed was much faster than the fastest horse in the Sky Dragon Nation. The news came from Concubine Qing's father, so it shouldn't be wrong. What a pity. The Hidden Cloud sect has a heritage of more than 1,300 years. At its peak, it was not weaker than the Sky Dragon sect that you and I belong to. Such a sect was unexpectedly destroyed by a merchant family in a remote city. I think that dead old ancestor of the Hidden Cloud sect would not have thought that the Hidden Cloud sect would end up like this. The Hidden Cloud sect has existed for more than 1,300 years, so it is normal for it to be destroyed. How can it compare to my Sky Dragon sect, which has a heritage of more than 3,000 years and is still at its peak? Even the monarch would treat our sect master as an equal. This time, for concubine Qing's sake, let's go and see who the Zhao mansion invited back. If they don't have any background, we will kill them directly to give concubine Qing some face. Now that she has become the monarch's perfect cauldron, it won't take long for her to break through to the innate realm. TSK, to be able to break through to the innate realm before the age of 50, it is really enviable. What is there to be envious about? Normal innate realm warriors can live for more than 200 years, but with concubine Qing's situation, if she can't break through to the Grandmaster realm in another 40 to 50 years, her lifespan will be exhausted and she will die. After all, the dual cultivation technique can steal the fortune of heaven and earth. Never mind, let's not talk about this. In another 7 or 8 days we will reach 100 Mountain City. I am really curious. There are only so many controlling Qi realm warriors in the Sky Dragon Nation. Maybe it is someone we know. Won't we know when we see it? This is it. 2 slender middle-aged men stood at the gate of the Zhao mansion. They looked at each other, and then one of them went up and knocked on the gate. After about 3 or 5 breaths, the gate opened slowly. The guard looked at the 2 coldly and said, "Who are you? Tell Zhao Zhuo that the Sky Dragon sect is here." One of the middle-aged men said with a faint smile. The guard from the Zhao mansion was stunned. Then, a look of disbelief appeared in his eyes. Someone from the Heavenly Dragon sect? The Sky Dragon sect was the national sect of the Sky Dragon Nation. It was said that the founder of the Sky Dragon Emperor and the leader of the Sky Dragon sect were good friends. They worked together to conquer the vast Sky Dragon Nation and killed countless enemies. It was also from then on that the best friend of the Sky Dragon Emperor founded the Sky Dragon sect, because he didn't like the power of the secular world. It had been more than 3,000 years since then, and it had never declined. Instead, it became stronger and stronger. The leader of the Sky Dragon sect was said to be a level 10 innate realm warrior, only half a step away from the Grandmaster realm. How could a martial artist from such a sect come to the Zhao mansion? What are you waiting for? A faint aura of the controlling Qi realm came from the middle-aged martial artist. The guard of the Zhao mansion was only a level 1 bone forging realm warrior. As soon as he was swept by this aura, he felt as if he had fallen into an ice cellar. His whole body was cold, and he couldn't help but shiver. The 2 middle-aged martial artists looked at each other and saw the ridicule in each other's eyes. If the guards were like this, it meant that the Zhao mansion's foundation was really trash. Two seniors, please come in." The guard took a deep breath, then quickly stepped aside and invited the 2 people in. He led them directly to the courtyard where Zhao Zhuo was. In the end, when they were halfway there, they saw a few silhouettes flying over from the sky. These people attacked each other. Every move was aimed at a vital point. They did not hold back at all. When the 2 middle-aged warriors from the Heavenly Dragon sect saw this, they sucked in a breath of cold air and immediately turned to leave. 3 controlling Qi realm warriors. How can there be 3 controlling Qi realm warriors in such a desolate place? It seems that there is something strange about the Zhao mansion. We should hurry back to the capital and report this. Chapter 2158. Who are those 2? Ding Feng, Xiao Li, and Zhao Ruo landed on the ground at the same time and asked the guard. When the guard saw the 3 of them, he quickly revealed a respectful expression. Reporting to First Miss, Dr. Ding, Lady Xiao Li, those 2 claim to be experts from the Sky Dragon sect and want to see Master. However, I don't know why. The guard looked at the back of the 2 people who were in a hurry and revealed a trace of doubt in his eyes. Sky Dragon sect? The 3 of them looked at each other, and there was a hint of understanding in their eyes. During this time, they increasingly felt that Ning Qi was omnipotent. He casually took out an elixir and let them break through to the Qi-controlling realm. Such means, even the existence of the Master Realm may not be able to do. Because of this, The three knew that Ning Qi would definitely be able to do what he promised Zhao Ruo. For this goal, the three had crammed all the detailed information about all the forces in Sky Dragon Country. Among them, the Sky Dragon sect was the most important. If they wanted to become the #1 family in Sky Dragon Country, they had to be there. After the Sky Dragon sect. Why would the Sky Dragon sect come to our Zhao residence for no reason? Shaoli asked in a low voice. Could it be because of the Hidden Cloud sect? Ding Feng suddenly looked up. Zhao Ruo shook her head. The Hidden Cloud sect has nothing to do with the Sky Dragon sect. The Sky Dragon sect would not send two Qi-controlling realm experts just because the Hidden Cloud sect was destroyed. At first glance, the three could tell the cultivation of the two middle-aged martial artists. After all, they were all Qi-controlling realm experts, and they could more or less sense each other. Then why? Ding Feng and Shaoli looked at Zhao Ruo. Did you forget that there is a Huang family in 100 Mountain City? Zhao Ruo said indifferently. Eldest miss, you are saying, that old fellow Huang Batian asked his daughter to find help to deal with our Zhao residence? A cold light flashed in Shaoli's eyes. She seemed to want to kill her way to the Huang family and take Huang Baishan's head. Some time ago, when she destroyed the Hidden Cloud sect, her murderous nature had gradually grown. We can't be sure. Those two must have been scared away when they saw us. If they want to deal with our Zhao residents, they will probably send stronger experts. Zhao Ruo smiled faintly. Ding Feng smiled. No matter how strong they can't be as strong as Senior Baishan. Shaoli nodded and agreed with Ding Feng's opinion. She simply regarded Ning Qi as an immortal. She believed that Ning Qi's serious injuries were just a disguise. It was just like the stories in ancient operas where immortals descended to the world and used various means to test mortals. Eldest miss, should we inform old master about this news? Shaoli asked. Go and make a trip. Let father make preparations. It would be best if you can call back all the direct disciples of the Zhao mansion who are outside. Zhao Ruo nodded her head as a trace of seriousness appeared in her eyes. She was actually quite shocked. She had never thought that the Zhao clan would be facing the strongest sect in Tianlong so soon. It still doesn't work. Ning Qi sighed and put away the astrolabe in his hand. He first tried to sense Fengtsuan Mountain, but there was no movement. This meant that this world was very, very far away from the central continent. Then, he used his divine will to explore the astrolabe. No matter how hard he tried, he could not find the location of the central continent. Only the line leading to the continent of the immortals was lit. He originally wanted to go to the continent of the immortals, but he wanted to wait for his child to be born and watch him grow up before leaving the central continent to go to the continent of the immortals. Now, it seemed that because of the Jiang family disciple, he might not be able to see his child being born or even growing up. An adult. Thinking of this, Ning Qi could not help but clench his fists tightly. The void in his hand was almost crushed by him. If he wanted to take revenge, he could only go to the continent of the immortals. His current cultivation level was locked by the system. Before going to the continent of the immortals, he could not break through to the continent of the immortals. The Jiang family and those similar marks. Could it be a family similar to the Jiang family? If that's the case, perhaps the Jiang family will not be my only enemy. Now that a mere Jiang family disciple has made me so powerless, there must be someone stronger in this family. I have to work harder. Whether it was everything that had happened in the Netherworld River Divine Palace or the appearance of the Jiang family disciple, Ning Qi felt a faint sense of danger. It seemed that as his strength increased, more and more mysterious and terrifying existences would appear in front of him. Ning Qi did not know whether this was a coincidence or not. He only knew that before going to the continent of the immortals, the only way he could strengthen himself was to cultivate the imprisonment dragon-elephant art and the 9 inner hidden gate. Let's see what I can buy to increase my cultivation with more than 1,000,000 Dragon Slayer crystals. Ning Qi's mind was immersed in the Dragon Slayer Mall. Ever since his cultivation was strong enough to crush the strongest existences in the world, Ning Qi rarely went to the Dragon Slayer Mall. First, it was because there was no need. Second, the items in the Dragon Slayer Mall were extremely expensive. It was better to keep the Dragon Slayer crystals as a backup. More importantly, he could return to Minuscule Mountain in an instant. However, even the system could not sense the existence of Minuscule Mountain. Having the Dragon Slayer crystals was useless. It was better to see what he could exchange from the system to increase his physical strength. System, search for options related to physical strength. 500 Dragon Slayer crystals will be deducted from the host. Now, based on the host's purchasing ability, the following 3 options related to physical strength have been selected for the host. Heart Questioning Mantra, a 3rd-rank mystical ability of the Immortals. If the host can pass the 3 bridges of self-questioning, the host's physical strength will be multiplied, one-time use. If the host cannot pass the 3 bridges of self-questioning, the host's physical strength will be doubled. Ancient Immortal Incense Body Tempering Art. By gathering all kinds of incense power, the host can use it to temper the body. 9 Transformations Golden Pill. Consuming it can increase the host's physical strength by 10% to 30%. The prices of these 3 options ranged from 900,000 Dragon Slayer crystals to 1,000,000 Dragon Slayer crystals. A mere search has deducted 500 Dragon Slayer crystals from me. You've really mastered the art of stealing from others, Ning Qi teased. Then, with a solemn expression, he looked at the 3 options retrieved by the system and compared them. The first option had a huge element of uncertainty. Ning Qi did not really understand what the 3 bridges of self-questioning was. He only knew that if he failed, his physical strength would be doubled. The third option was very simple. It was just a medicinal pill. If he was lucky, it would increase his strength by 30%. If he was unlucky, it would increase his strength by 10%. It was stable, but the benefits were not great. As for the second option, Ning Qi studied it carefully. He realized that this ancient immortal incense body tempering art seemed to have no limit. He could continue cultivating it as long as he had enough incense. Chapter 2159. Incense is condensed by the faith of tens of thousands of living beings. It can't be seen with the naked eye, and can't be sensed with divine will. It's illusory, but it truly exists. Ning Qi carefully looked through the information about the ancient immortal incense body tempering technique. He even spent some dragon-slaying crystals to obtain some of the experiences of predecessors cultivating the ancient immortal incense body tempering technique. There was an ancestor whose incense inheritance went from billions of living beings at the beginning to trillions of living beings 10,000 years later, and even countless living beings after an era. Relying on these incense, this ancestor broke through to an extremely terrifying level. Even if he was not invincible in this world, at least he would not die because of fighting. In the end, this ancestor died because of fighting. In the end, this ancestor died because the living beings who believed in him were all annihilated in a great catastrophe. His incense was cut off, and his lifespan, which was integrated with the incense, was also exhausted. The stronger the believer, the stronger the incense. The believers under that ancestor were probably no weaker than the disciples of the Jiang family, but they were all annihilated in one fell swoop. It seems that even if I walk this path, I can't let others know, or I can't focus on the ancient immortal incense body tempering technique. As a support-type cultivation technique, it's pretty good. In this way, this technique has its advantages and disadvantages. In the short term, the advantages outweigh the disadvantages, but in the long term, the disadvantages outweigh the advantages. It's like putting a butcher's knife on my neck. If the enemy finds out, the butcher's knife can fall at any time, system, exchange for the ancient immortal incense body tempering technique. Ning Qi's mind moved, and in the next moment, his dragon-slaying crystals were deducted by 1,000,000 from the system. Immediately after, a special cultivation method's mnemonic chant surged into his mind. Ning Qi sat down cross-legged and cultivated according to the mnemonic chant. It took him a full 15 years to condense a single point between his brows. It was a very small idol, the size of a grain of rice. Although it was called a idol, it looked exactly like Ning Qi, but the clothes it wore were a bit strange. Ning Qi was sure that in his memory, he had never worn such clothes. The idol gave off an extremely dignified, solemn feeling. Just as the idol condensed, countless rays of light cut through the void and landed on it. These rays of light were densely packed, but Ning Qi instantly sensed that there were about 30 billion of them. These lights were probably the Joss flames condensed by the cultivators who believed in Ning Qi. Moreover, Ning Qi could subconsciously sense the distance of these lights. Apart from 5 of them, the rest of the lights gave off a very distant feeling. They should be from the central continent. However, there were more than 1 trillion living beings in the central continent, but there were only about 30 billion incense sticks. Based on the cultivation experience of this ancestor, it should be that the strength of many of the believers had not reached the level where they could condense the power of incense. As for the 5 incense sticks that were very close, Ning Qi had already guessed who they were. With the addition of 30 billion incense sticks, the god statue between Ning Qi's eyebrows continued to absorb the power from the 30 billion incense stick. It seemed to grow larger. Ning Qi could clearly feel that even if he wasn't cultivating, his physical strength was still slowly increasing. At this rate, it wouldn't take more than 100 years for the statue to reach the size of 2 grains of rice. By then, Ning Qi's physical strength would double. Wait a moment, why do these statues feel so familiar? Ning Qi was slightly startled. He carefully looked at his own statue again, and then his eyes revealed a trace of shock. The aura of the statue between his eyebrows was 80 to 90% similar to the statues he had seen in the Styx Palace. If the two were the same, it meant that the owners of those statues might have cultivated the same cultivation method as Ning Qi, the ancient immortal incense body tempering technique. Thinking about the size of those statues, and then looking at his own statue that was the size of a grain of rice, Ning Qi suddenly felt that he still had a long way to go. The faith of 30 billion living beings was only this big. How much faith did he have to obtain to become a statue that was 10 or even 100 feet tall? Ning Qi smiled and didn't think about these things that were too far away. He looked at the statue again and confirmed his current state. Finally, he was sure that he had successfully cultivated the ancient immortal incense body tempering technique. Next, he didn't need to sit cross-legged and cultivate like other cultivation methods. He just needed to develop his faith and obtain enough faith to supply the statue and himself. There are about 400 to 500 billion mortals on this planet. Although the highest cultivation realm is only at the 5th level of qi refining, if I can leave behind a cultivation method that helps them break through to the Dando realm or even the eternal life realm in the future, turning this place into an existence similar to the Azure Dragon continent, the faith I can obtain might be even more than in the central continent. Perhaps even more than in the central continent. When these believers have their own descendants and develop their own families, the number of worshippers will increase exponentially. It's like planting a seed. Sooner or later, as long as it's not destroyed halfway, it will eventually grow into a towering tree. Ning Qi faintly pondered. At the same time, he felt that it was a pity. When he was in the central continent, he didn't deliberately develop in this direction, and he didn't know about the ancient immortal incense body tempering technique. Otherwise, Ning Qi was confident that he could develop more than 1 trillion believers in the central continent. That was his current physical strength. If this was combined with the 9 inner hidden gates, Then perhaps his strength would reach the level of a Middle-earth demon master. The Tianlong Kingdom was one of the 7 kingdoms under the Tian Su dynasty. It was ranked in the middle, not at the top, but not at the bottom either. This was because the Tianlong Kingdom had a sect that had been passed down since the founding of the kingdom, the Tianlong sect. The current leader of the Sky Dragon sect, Du Gushan, and the king of Sky Dragon country called each other brothers. He was already a level 10 Xiantian realm expert and was only half a step away from becoming a grandmaster. He was recognized as the strongest expert in Sky Dragon country. There was no other level 10 Xiantian realm expert. It was because of Du Gushan that Sky Dragon country could maintain its current status. Among the 3 countries that were ranked lower than Sky Dragon country, the strongest existence was only a level 9 Xiantian realm expert. Even if they joined hands, they wouldn't be a match for Du Gushan. Elders, why are you in such a hurry? The 2 Qi-controlling realm experts who had just left the 100 Mountain City and returned to the Sky Dragon sect were stopped by a young warrior with a faint smile on his face. Seeing this, the 2 immediately showed a trace of respect. They cupped their hands and said in a low voice, "Qi Fei and Wu Zhong greet Crown Prince Qian." "Elder Qi Fei, Elder Wu Zhong, no need to be so polite. Since I have been cultivating in the Sky Dragon sect, I am not the Crown Prince, but an ordinary disciple of the Sky Dragon sect." Qian Long smiled lightly. Chapter 2160. 3 Masters of the Qi-controlling realm? 100 Mountain Cities Zhao Mansion? Qian Long frowned slightly and a look of surprise flashed across his eyes. A face appeared in his mind. The 100 Mountain City is that person's hometown, right? In his impression, that was a very remote place belonging to Sisui Commandery. The most powerful force in Sisui Commandery was Just Cloud, which had declined a long time ago. The hidden sect and the other sects only had a dozen true essence realm experts. Normally, they wouldn't enter Qian Long's line of sight. However, after he heard from Qi Fei and Wu Zhong about what he had seen and heard, Qian Long had an idea and felt that he had to make a trip there personally. He wanted to confirm whether the Zhao Mansion had been hiding their strength from the very beginning, or whether they had some kind of fortuitous encounter that allowed the Zhao Mansion to have 3 more Qi-controlling realm experts. "I'll accompany you too," Qian Long said with a smile. Qi Fei and Wu Zhong were stunned for a moment, then they looked at Qian Long awkwardly. Although Qian Long's status was extraordinary and his aptitude for martial arts was top-notch, he had already broken through to the true energy realm when he was 13 years old. Now, he was only 20 years old and was already in the 10th order of the true energy realm, only half a step away from the Qi-controlling realm. There were even rumors that said that with Qian Long's aptitude, he might even be able to break through to the evolved Jing realm in the future. If he succeeded, there would be a new dynasty in this world. However, no matter how strong his aptitude was and how high his status was, it was useless in the current situation. The 2 planned to go back to the sect and ask a few old friends in the Qi-controlling realm to go with them to the Zhao Mansion in Baishan City to find out what was going on. They brought along a cultivator in the true energy realm who had a very high status. If anything went wrong, the 2 of them would get 10 pills. Not even enough heads to chop off. Qian Long seemed to have sensed their intentions. He smiled and nodded at the air to his right. Immediately after, a silhouette appeared before Qi Fei and Wu Zhong. The 2 of them were startled and a look of shock appeared in their eyes. What kind of existence could hide from them? And from such a close distance? The answer seemed to be on the verge of appearing, a greater heaven stage expert. And it was a woman. Could it be the palace master of Falling Flower Palace, who was known as the #1 assassination empress in Sky Dragon country? The emperor actually sent her to protect the crown prince? Qi Fei and Wu Zhong sucked in a breath of cold air when they thought of this. "Elders, this is Palace Lord Hua," said a middle-aged man. Qian Long introduced with a smile. Greetings, Palace Master Hua. The two of them hastily bowed. Although Hua Yuding was only at the first level of the Xiantian realm and ranked at the bottom of the top 10 Xiantian experts in the country of Sky Dragon, even those who were stronger than her didn't want to provoke her. Only their heavenly dragon sect master, Dugushan, and those who were weaker than Dugushan. The few of them were not afraid of her. The two of you, with Palace Master Hua here, there's no need to fear the Zhao Mansion, right? Qianlong smiled. The two of them quickly nodded. Master Beixian, Ding Feng, Zhao Ruo, and Shaoli were practicing their swordsmanship in the yard. Their cultivation realm had improved again. Except for Ding Feng, Zhao Ruo and Shaoli were already in the third tier of the Qi-controlling realm. Such a cultivation speed was so shocking that even they could not believe it. Their respect for Ning Qi grew. Fearlessness. The three of them were no longer surprised to see Ning Qi. Even if the room was empty a moment ago, it would not be strange for Ning Qi to appear in the next moment. After the three of them went up to greet him, Ning Qi smiled faintly and said, "Call everyone in the Zhao Mansion here." Everyone? Ding Feng and the other two were stunned. Zhao Ruo was slightly taken aback. She said in surprise, "Master Beixian, you mean everyone in the Zhao Mansion? Including the servants?" "That's right." Ning Qi nodded with a smile. Zhao Ruo seemed to have guessed something. A trace of shock appeared in her eyes. After the shock, she was overjoyed. "Shaoli, go and inform them," Zhao Ruo said to Shaoli. Shaoli hurriedly nodded before leaping up and vanishing from everyone's field of vision. In next to no time, numerous figures gathered ceaselessly at the entrance of the small courtyard. Everyone had a trace of bewilderment and uncertainty on their faces, and at the same time, they also carried some anticipation. The disciples of Zhao Ruo's generation had already begun to guess the reason why Ning Qi called them here. After thinking about it, they all thought that perhaps their opportunity was coming. Otherwise, there was no need for someone like Ning Qi to call them here. "Do you guys think Master Beixian is going to teach us martial arts?" "It's possible, but Miss Shaoli said that even the servants of the Zhao Mansion will be here." "I don't think it's possible. Even the servants can't be the same as us, right?" "That's true." Everyone was a little disappointed. The servants were even more dumbfounded. However, they also had a trace of anticipation in their hearts. As servants of the Zhao Mansion, they had witnessed Ning Qi's methods during this period. In their hearts, they had already regarded Ning Qi as one of those innate realm experts. Soon, Zhao Yu and the others arrived one after another. "Big brother, what's going on? Master Beixian suddenly called us here. Does he have something important to announce?" Zhao Yu asked impatiently. Zhao Zhua said indifferently, "Be quiet. Master Beixian will give us instructions later." His voice was neither loud nor soft. It was just enough to be heard by everyone in the Zhao Mansion. Soon, some of the whispers died down. Hundreds of people from the Zhao Mansion stood quietly at the entrance of the courtyard, their eyes filled with anticipation. Not long after, Ning Qi brought Zhao Ruo and Ding Feng out of the courtyard. When everyone saw this, they immediately became nervous. Reverence, excitement, anticipation, all sorts of gazes landed on Ning Qi at almost the same time. 300 people? That's good too. No matter how small a mosquito is, it's still meat. Ning Qi's gaze swept across the crowd as he muttered to himself with a faint smile. No one understood what Ning Qi was saying. Before they had time to think, they suddenly felt a cool aura rush into their bodies. In the next moment, a heart-wrenching pain assaulted them. Miserable howls sounded out almost at the same time. Even places far away from the Zhao Mansion could hear the miserable howls. They stopped in their tracks in bewilderment and looked over at the Zhao Mansion. What's going on at the Zhao Mansion? Why are they screaming so miserably? It seems like there's more than one person. Could it be that an enemy has come to find them? The Zhao Mansion could even destroy the Hidden Cloud sect. How could they have an enemy stronger than the Hidden Cloud sect? Then, what's going on? Chapter 2161. My strength. One of the Zhao Mansion juniors subconsciously pressed his hand against the ground, and his palm sank several inches deep into the ground. Although the floor was not made of limestone, it was not made of sand either. Normally, if one wanted to create such an effect, one would probably have to use all one's strength. This scene caused the Zhao Mansion disciple to be somewhat dumbfounded. Master, Zhao Zhua's wives looked at each other in shock. They were both ashamed and angry. How could Senior Bei Xian turn themselves into such a state in the blink of an eye? The layer of mud on their bodies was unbearable. They had always placed great importance on their appearance, so how could they bear to suddenly become like this? But Zhao Zhua was cold. He quietly shook off the mud on his body, and then bowed to Ning Qi. The chief steward followed closely behind. This wasn't the first time Ning Qi had cleansed their marrow. Now that there was mud on their bodies again, it meant that Ning Qi had cleansed their marrow again. They could feel the surging true yuan in their bodies. This seemed to be the strength of the true yuan of the Qi controlling realm. This strength. The Zhao brothers looked at each other and saw the disbelief in each other's eyes. They were originally only at the 5th stage of the bone-forging realm, but now they found that the strength in their bodies had skyrocketed countless times. There was a very rich true yuan flowing through their bodies. How could this be bone-forging realm martial artists? They had clearly become true energy realm martial artists. Master, what is this mud on our bodies? There are so many juniors and servants here. How are we going to face others in the future? Zhao Zhua's second wife glanced at Ning Qi and said in a low voice with some anger. Shut up. Haven't you noticed that there's something in your body? Zhao Zhua's eyes flashed with anger. This woman was too stupid. After Zhao Zhua said this, the first wife and the second wife hurriedly sensed their bodies and then looked at Zhao Zhua, dumbfounded. Then they looked at Ning Qi, their eyes filled with shock. From beginning to end, they weren't martial artists, so they weren't like the other Zhao Mansion juniors who could immediately sense the changes in their bodies. Now that Zhao Zhua had reminded them, they had indeed discovered that there was something in their bodies. No matter how ignorant they were, they could still vaguely guess what it was. Martial artist. We actually became martial artists. First Madame and the others were still in disbelief. They felt as if they were dreaming. It was only when everyone in the Zhao Manor stood up and shook off the dirt on their bodies, revealing their extraordinary auras, that the madams finally believed what they were seeing. Hundreds of true element realm martial artists and several Qi controlling realm martial artists stood together quietly at this moment. Their auras blended with each other. This aura was several times stronger than when Su Dingtian brought hundreds of Hidden Cloud sect knights to 100 Mountain City. We're not dreaming, right? Could the energy flowing in my body be the legendary true essence? It is indeed true yuan, I can feel it too. Have we become true element boundary cultivators? What was going on? That heart-wrenching pain just now was too unbearable, but after this pain, if I can become a true element boundary cultivator, I hope I can experience this pain 100 more times. No. 1,000 times. Brothers, I finally know how Dr. Ding became a true element boundary martial artist. Senior Bei Xian's methods are truly divine. I didn't think that I, who was originally a 3rd stage bone-forging realm martial artist, would become a true element boundary martial artist in the blink of an eye. Could this be the method of an immortal? A large group of Zhao Manor disciples looked at each other in surprise. Then, they looked at Ding Feng and the other two, but they still couldn't see through their cultivation. This shocked them, and they guessed that during this period of time, Ding Feng, Zhao Ruo, and Xiao Li's cultivation had skyrocketed with Ning Qi's help. As expected of Senior Bei Xian. In the blink of an eye, our Zhao Manor gained hundreds of true element boundary martial artists. Who in Sishui County can resist such a force? If this news were to spread, the entire Sky Dragon Nation would be shocked. However, compared to those forces with Xiantian realm martial artists, we are still a little lacking. Ding Feng sighed. Zhao Ruo's eyes revealed a look of joy. At this moment, the Zhao Manor's strength had greatly increased. Although there was still a big gap between them and the number one force in Sky Dragon Nation, they were definitely not a third-rate force. At the very least, they were between second-rate and first-rate. I will teach you a set of cultivation technique. Go back and practice it well to consolidate your current cultivation. Ning Qi smiled lightly. As soon as his voice fell, the hundreds of people in front of him suddenly felt a chill in their minds. Then, a set of cultivation technique appeared in their minds. Even Zhao Zhuo, who was experienced and knowledgeable, had never heard of this kind of cultivation technique. His mouth was slightly open, and he looked at Ning Qi with a trace of astonishment in his eyes. After about 5 breaths of time, everyone finally reacted, including Zhao Yu, who had always been dissatisfied with Ning Qi. They all looked at Ning Qi with respect and awe, as if they were looking at the statues of Buddha in the temples. More than 300 beams of golden light appeared in the god statue between Ning Qi's eyebrows. Compared to the original 30 billion, it was nothing, but as long as it grew, these 300 beams of incense would become 3,000, 30,000, and 300,000. The number of children and grandchildren would increase from generation to generation. As for the population of this world, if he turned them all into his followers, Ning Qi was confident that his physical strength would at least double in a short period of time. Is this 100-mountain city? Qian Long stood at the city gate with a faint smile. Hua Yuding stood beside Qian Long, looking very indifferent. There was a faint trace of disdain in the depths of her eyes as she looked at 100-mountain city. Compared to her level, 100-mountain city was a desolate place, and so was Si Shui Commandery. The strongest force there was only a first or second order true element realm master. Any disciple of her Falling Flower Palace could easily wipe out all these true element realm masters in Si Shui Commandery, and it would be effortless. If Qi Fei and Wu Zhong hadn't told her that there were 3 Qi-controlling realm masters in a small merchant family in 100 Mountain City, which made her a little curious, she might not have come here with Qian Long this time. You two, please lead the way, Qian Long said with a smile. Seeing this, Qi Fei and Wu Zhong nodded. Not long after, they led Qian Long and Hua Yuding to the gate of Zhao Mansion. They looked at each other, and finally, Wu Zhong stepped forward and knocked on the gate. About 5 breaths later, the gate creaked open. A true element realm martial artist? The 4 people's expressions changed slightly. The person who opened the gate was wearing the clothes of a servant, but the aura he emitted surprised the 4 people. This was obviously a true element realm martial artist. According to the situation in Si Shui Prefecture, a martial artist at this level could already be a sect leader. Why was he guarding the gate here? Chapter 2162. It's you. Zhao Jie recognized Qi Fei and Wu Zhong immediately. The last time they visited, they left without saying goodbye. Unlike the first time they met, Zhao Jie was no longer that afraid of the Sky Dragon School's reputation. Even if the 2 of them were of a higher level than him, he was not afraid, because in the Zhao Mansion, there were already 5 known Qi-controlling realm cultivators, not to mention Senior Bei Xian, who was always cultivating and rarely showed himself. It's you? How are you a true energy realm cultivator? Wu Zhong looked at Zhao Jie with astonishment and disbelief. It had only been less than a month since he had last come to 100 Mountain City. At that time, Zhao Jie had been an ordinary person who hadn't even reached the bone-forging stage. But now, he actually possessed the aura of a true essence boundary cultivator? Haha, you 2 must be here to visit the family head. Please follow me. Oh, these 2 are. Zhao Jie didn't answer Wu Zhong. Zhao Zhuo had ordered that from now on, no one was allowed to leak information about the Zhao Mansion. Anyone who disobeyed would be expelled from the mansion. Zhao Jiu had finally become a true element boundary cultivator, and during this period of time, even if he was just a doorkeeper, he would still be happy, so how could he be so stupid? So, he deliberately changed the topic, his eyes falling on Qian Long and Hua Moonting. Especially Hua Yuding. He could faintly feel the pressure this woman gave him. She was even stronger than Ding Feng and the others. This made Zhao Jiu a bit more suspicious. We're also here to visit the family head. Qian Long smiled. Oh, all right then. Please follow me. Zhao Jiu nodded and led the way. Prince Qian, this Zhao mansion is not simple. The gatekeeper is already a true energy realm cultivator. The three Qi-controlling realm cultivators Qi Fei and Wu Zhong saw last time must be real. Hua Yuding transmitted her voice. Once one reached the Qi-controlling realm, they could transmit their voice. This was also one of the ways to identify experts. Yuding, even the Sky Dragon sect wouldn't need a true energy realm cultivator to guard the door. True energy realm cultivators were not rare in the country of Sky Dragon, but they were also the geniuses of the big sections. This guy doesn't seem to be very old, but he's already reached the true energy realm. This means his talent is extraordinary. The way I see it, this Zhao mansion is truly not simple at all. Qian Long transmitted his voice with a smile. What's so special about it? It's just, a hint of disdain flashed across Hua Yuting's eyes. However, in the next moment, her expression froze. She stared in disbelief at the servants of the Zhao mansion who were walking towards her. This was because the aura of these servants was the same as Zhao Jiu's, perhaps even stronger. All of them were true element boundary masters? Why were they all wearing servant clothes? Could it be that the Zhao mansion already knew that they were coming, so they had a true element boundary master wear servants' clothes to deliberately show their strength? Thinking of this, Hua Yuding's eyes flashed with a cold light. True element boundary. Another true element boundary. Qi Fei and Wu Zhong glanced at each other and saw the shock in each other's eyes. Normally, true element boundary cultivators would not be worthy of their attention, but when they saw true element boundary masters dressed in servants' clothes over and over again, they felt a trace of suspicion towards the Zhao mansion. Can't feel the fear. Yuding, this Zhao mansion is indeed not simple. Qian Long's face turned serious. At this moment, a bright smile appeared on Zhao Jiu's face. He greeted the people in front of him. Just as they were about to pass each other, "All of you, stop!" Hua Yuding shouted coldly. The servants of the Zhao mansion were stunned for a moment. Then, they looked at Hua Yuding with unfriendly expressions. At the same time, they glanced at Zhao Jiu, as if they were asking about their origins. "Miss, what do you want?" The servants noticed that Hua Yuding's aura was extremely secretive, and they could not see through it at all. A trace of fear flashed in their eyes as they asked cautiously. "Stop pretending. Tell me, who's in charge here? Ask him to come out." Hua Yuding said coldly. "Pretending? Pretending for what?" The servants did not understand. Even Zhao Jiu did not understand. He looked at Hua Yuding in confusion. "Miss, what are you talking about? Why don't I understand anything? Hee, you want a true element boundary master to wear servants' clothes and you want to show our strength? Not a bad idea. Unfortunately, this trick is useless in front of me." Hua Yuding sneered. Zhao Jiu and the others looked at each other with a strange expression. At this moment, Zhao Yu's eldest son, Zhao Qinfeng, walked over with a dozen personal guards. Behind him were more than 20 servants. The aura of more than 40 true element boundary masters gathered together. Even a Qi-controlling realm master would have to be wary. A Qi-controlling boundary first stage cultivator could only face 7 or 8 true element boundary 10th stage cultivators at most. Facing more than 40 true element boundary cultivators was already an extremely terrifying force. Even a Qi-controlling boundary cultivator would have to avoid them. Hua Yuding and the others immediately felt the aura. They looked at Zhao Qingfeng and their expressions all became a little strange. These are all true element boundary masters? Qi Fei looked at the guards, servants, and Zhao Qingfeng and could not help but exclaim. Qianlong's expression became more and more dignified. In a place like Sisui County, there were only a dozen true element boundary masters. Suddenly, there were more than 40 true element boundary masters in the same mansion. It was unbelievable. Zhao Jiu, what's going on? Who are these people? Zhao Qingfeng walked in front of the crowd and glanced at Qi Fei and the others. He was a little shocked in his heart, but he did not show it on his face. He couldn't see through the cultivation of these 4 people, which meant that they were much stronger than him, and he was now a 5th-order true element boundary master. In the past, there hadn't been a single person like him in Si Shui Commandery. Young Master Qingfeng, these 2 are experts from the Sky Dragon sect. They are here to pay a visit to the Patriarch. As for these 2, I do not know. Zhao Jiu quickly cupped his hands and said, "Oh, so they are experts from the Sky Dragon sect." Zhao Qingfeng smiled. He was neither servile nor overbearing. He did not show the shock and fear that normal cultivators would show when they heard of the Sky Dragon sect. Hua Yuding's gaze fell on the guards and servants behind Zhao Qingfeng. Her expression became more and more strange. She had thought that Zhao Jiu and the others were deliberately arranged by the Patriarch to show their strength. But now there were suddenly more than a dozen true element boundary masters, and they were all wearing the same uniform of guards and servants. Because of this, Hua Yuding could not see through the Zhao mansion. The trace of contempt in her heart was gradually restrained. "Everyone, don't just stand here. Since you want to see my uncle, come with me." Zhao Qingfeng smiled. Seeing this, Zhao Jiu respectfully turned around and left. "Then I will have to trouble young Master Qingfeng," Qianlong said with a smile. Soon, under Zhao Qingfeng's lead, the 4 walked through a long corridor and saw many disciples and servants of the Zhao mansion. When they discovered that they were all true element boundary masters, the shock in their hearts could not be concealed. Chapter 2163. Zhao Qingfeng entered the courtyard. Hua Yuding and Qianlong looked at each other, then silently looked at the 2 guards at the entrance. They were young, but they also exuded the aura of the true energy realm. From beginning to end, the 2 of them had never seen anyone below the true energy realm in the Zhao mansion. Bone forging realm. No, not even ordinary people. There are at least 70 or 80 true energy realm martial artists here, Wu Zhong said in a low voice. Even our Sky Dragon sect only has this many true energy realm martial artists, right? Qi Fei revealed a look of amazement, still somewhat unable to believe it. The Heavenly Dragon sect had existed for so many years, and they had over 1,000 bone-forging realm martial artists. As for true element boundary martial artists, there were less than 100. These were already the Heavenly Dragon sect's proud disciples, and above them were Qi-controlling realm martial artists. They were elders, but in a very remote place in Sky Dragon Country, a place they had never even heard of before. They had seen 70 or 80 true element boundary cultivators. How could they not be shocked? If they saw the hundreds of people in the Zhao mansion were all true energy realm martial artists, they wouldn't be so shocked. Prince Qian, the person in charge here, is not simple. Could he be sent by an enemy of the Sky Dragon Country? Hua Yuding asked. Since ancient times, there must be a reason behind this anomaly. A small Zhao mansion actually had so many true element boundary cultivators, as well as a Qi-controlling boundary master. Such a terrifying force. Under normal circumstances, the Zhao mansion should have been famous throughout Sky Dragon Country, but the Zhao mansion was still so low-key. If not for Qi Fei and Wu Zhong, they wouldn't have known that the Zhao mansion had so many true energy realm martial artists. That's not very possible. I think it's possible that a hidden power has come into being, Qianlong said. Hua Yuding was startled. A hidden force? Everyone, the patriarch is waiting for you inside. Please follow me. Zhao Qingfeng walked out of the courtyard and smiled at the four. The four looked at each other with anticipation. They were finally going to meet the patriarch of the Zhao mansion. What kind of person could he be to cultivate so many true energy realm martial artists? Soon, under Zhao Qingfeng's lead, the four of them entered a large hall. Zhao Zhuo was sitting on the host's seat. When he saw the four of them enter, he stood up and greeted them with a smile. I heard you're esteemed guests from the Heavenly Dragon School. You've brought light to my humble dwelling. I am Zhao Zhuo. How should I address you, esteemed guests? He glanced at Qi Fei, Wu Zhong, and Qian Long, and finally rested his eyes on Hua Yuding. A hint of fear flashed in the depths of his eyes. He was already an expert in the first rank of the Qi-controlling realm, but he could not see through Hua Yuding. It could only be said that her cultivation was much higher than his. He's the patriarch of the Zhao mansion? Hua Yuding frowned slightly and looked Zhao Zhuo up and down. In her opinion, Zhao Zhuo's aura was very ordinary. It was true that he was a Qi-controlling realm expert, but in the Qi-controlling realm, he could only be regarded as below average, even worse than Qi Fei and Wu Zhong. How could such an existence cultivate so much Jin Yuan? Realm warrior? So it's Patriarch Zhao Zhuo. I am Qi Fei, and this is my junior brother, Wu Zhong. Qi Fei glanced at Qian Long, seeing that Qian Long had no intention of stepping forward. He understood that Qian Long did not want to reveal his identity, so he stepped forward and greeted with a smile. Brother Qi, Brother Wu. Zhao Zhuo smiled and cupped his hands. You're really the patriarch of the Zhao mansion? Hua Yuding frowned and said with a hint of disbelief in her tone. How dare you? How dare someone impersonate the patriarch of the Zhao mansion? Zhao Qingfeng shouted coldly, looking at Hua Yuding with an extremely unfriendly gaze. A trace of anger flashed across Hua Yuding's eyes. If it weren't for Qian Long shaking his head at her, she would have already slapped Zhao Qingfeng to death. How could a dignified Xiantian realm master be scolded by a true element boundary cultivator? Qingfeng, don't be rude. You can leave now. Zhao Zhuo smiled. Zhao Qingfeng glanced at Hua Yuding coldly, then nodded and left the main hall. However, he did not go far, but stood at the entrance of the main hall. May I know your name, young lady? Zhao Zhuo looked at Hua Yuding and said with a smile. Falling Flower Palace's palace master, Hua Yuding. Hua Yuding said coldly and directly announced her identity. Zhao Zhuo was slightly startled, and his eyes finally showed a trace of emotion. He was a little shocked. He did not expect that apart from the Sky Dragon sect, the Falling Flower Palace's palace master would also come in person. The former was a warrior from the top sect of Sky Dragon, and the latter was the leader of the top assassin organization of Sky Dragon. Hua Yuding, who was ranked last among the Xiantian realm warriors. The chief steward, who had been standing in the corner of the main hall, sent a voice transmission to Zhao Zhuo. Patriarch, I'm afraid we can't deal with an Xiantian realm warrior. Should we inform Senior Bei Xian? Act according to the situation, Zhao Zhuo replied. Then, he cupped his hands at Hua Yuding and said with a warm smile, So it's the Falling Flower Palace's palace master. I'm sorry I didn't come out to greet you. Cut the crap. Let the real leader of this place come out. The Falling Flower Palace's palace master said indifferently. The real leader. Senior might be cultivating in seclusion. I'm afraid he doesn't have time to meet you. Zhao Zhuo said with a smile. Meet him? What a joke. Hua Yuding was so angry that she laughed. Zhao Zhuo used the word, meet him, to tell them that the status of the Zhao Mansion's senior was higher than theirs. How was that possible? Hua Yuding was neither servile nor overbearing, and could even meet the king of Sky Dragon Country if she wanted to. And Xiantian realm warriors' aura burst out from Hua Yuding's body and swept towards Zhao Zhuo and the chief steward like a storm. At the Xiantian realm, the true Qi had undergone a qualitative change. It was different from the true energy realm and the Qi defensive realm, and its power was much greater. Boom! The entire main hall was destroyed by Hua Yuding's true Qi and collapsed. Zhao Zhuo and the chief steward were sent flying by the attack and landed heavily on the ground. They spat out a mouthful of blood and looked at each other in fear. If Ning Qi hadn't cleansed their marrow twice, with their previous cultivation, they wouldn't have been able to withstand Hua Yuding's attack. He was afraid that he wouldn't be able to withstand Hua Yuding's move. The collapse of the main hall caused a huge commotion. Zhao Qingfeng and the others outside immediately gathered around, a trace of anger on their faces. The other disciples of the Zhao mansion also rushed over. The Zhao mansion was not big. In just a dozen breaths' time, hundreds of true element realm cultivators appeared around Flower Moon Pavilion and the others. Among them were 3 warriors of the Qi-controlling realm. Father! Zhao Ruofei landed beside Zhao Zhuo with a hint of worry in her eyes. I'm fine. It's just a small injury. Zhao Zhuo stood up and smiled. Chapter 2164. Your Excellency, the Zhao mansion has no enmity with you. Why did you destroy my house? Zhao Zhuo looked at Hua Yuding and smiled. Hua Yuding's gaze swept around and finally landed on Ding Feng, Zhao Ruo, and Shaoli. These 3 were also Qi-controlling realm masters. Including Zhao Zhuo and the chief steward, she had already seen 5 Qi-controlling realm masters and hundreds of true energy realm masters in the Zhao mansion. With such a force, if another Xiantian realm master came, they would not be weaker than Falling Flower Palace in Tianlong. However, Hua Yuding was a proud person. Since she had already attacked, she would not give any explanation. She looked at Zhao Zhuo coldly and said, "You have no right to speak to me. Ask the person in charge to come out." "How dare you? Who is she? How dare she come to the Zhao mansion and behave atrociously?" "Suppress them." Flower Moon Ting's words caused the surrounding true energy boundary masters to become enraged. Now was the Zhao mansion's golden age, and every single one of them was a true energy boundary master. Now that a woman had suddenly appeared and insulted their patriarch, how could they endure this insult? Clenching their fists tightly, they waited for Zhao Zhuo's order. "If you really want to see Senior Beixian, I will send someone to inform him. However, whether Senior Beixian wants to see you or not is not something I can control." Zhao Zhuo smiled and nodded at Ding Feng. Ding Feng saw this and flew into the air. After a dozen breaths, he returned to the crowd and said to Zhao Zhuo, "Master, Senior Beixian wants them to go over." "All right." Zhao Zhuo nodded and looked at Hua Yuding and the others. He smiled and said, "You are lucky that Senior Beixian is willing to see you. Please follow me." Deliberately mystifying. "I want to see what kind of master is so arrogant." Hua Yuding snorted. The people of the Zhao residence were infuriated when they heard this, but they didn't say anything. Instead, they looked at Flower Moon Pavilion with a faint smile and a hint of mockery in their eyes. Once she sees Senior Beixian's power, she won't be as arrogant as she is now. Qi Fei and Wu Zhong felt a little uncomfortable in their hearts. Being surrounded by hundreds of true element boundary cultivators like tigers watching their prey really made them a little nervous. Even if they were Qi-controlling boundary masters, it was impossible for them to defeat hundreds of true element boundary cultivators. Thinking up to this point, the 2 of them subconsciously glanced at Hua Moon Pavilion and heaved a long sigh of relief. Fortunately, with Hua Moon Pavilion, a first-order Xiantian realm expert, their safety today was at least guaranteed. Soon, under Zhao Zhuo's lead, the group arrived at an extremely unremarkable small courtyard. Compared to the courtyard Zhao Zhuo had been in before, this courtyard could only be said to be slightly better than the woodshed. It was clearly different from the courtyards they had passed along the way. After all, this was Ding Feng's residence in the past. At that time, Ding Feng was just a small doctor. It was already very good for him to have his own courtyard. Later on, Zhao Zhua suggested that Ning Qi live in the best and largest courtyard in the Zhao mansion, but Ning Qi tactfully declined. Is it here? Hua Moon Pavilion and the others were slightly taken aback. They looked at the small courtyard in front of them with a strange look in their eyes. However, the next moment, Hua Moon Pavilion did not say a word and directly walked into the courtyard. She could not wait to see what kind of existence was playing tricks here. Everyone in the Zhao clan, including Zhao Zhua, had gloating looks in their eyes when they saw this. As expected, when Hua Yuding approached the gate of the courtyard, she was suddenly blocked by an invisible wall. A look of shock appeared on Hua Yuding's face. In the next moment, she suddenly pulled out a sword from her waist. This flexible sword, under the infusion of true essence, instantly erupted with a cold light. It stabbed forwards, but the result was that the flexible sword seemed to stab into something indestructible. First it bent, and then with a clang, it broke into pieces and fell to the ground. What's going on? Qianlong and the other two looked at this scene in shock. In their eyes, Hua Moon Pavilion's sword had only stabbed the air and then it broke. Impossible! Hua Moon Pavilion's eyes were filled with anger. She was about to attack again when the door suddenly opened and a figure walked out. Senior Bei Xian. Zhao Zhuo and hundreds of martial artists of the Zhao mansion cupped their hands at Ning Qi and their voices shook the sky. Is he the person in charge of the Zhao mansion? These true element boundary masters, were they trained by this person? Why does he look so young? Qi Fei and Wu Zhong looked at each other in shock. Qianlong's eyes landed on Ning Qi. The shock in his heart was no less than that of Qi Fei and Wu Zhong. Ning Qi looked like he was 18 or 19 years old, much younger than Qianlong. The strongest person in this world was only at the 5th rank of the Qi refining realm, which was equivalent to the Battle King realm. Even an expert who could retain his or her youthful appearance would at most look 70 or 80 years old, but he or she would only look 40 or 50 years old. They had originally guessed that the person in charge of the Zhao mansion was at least 100 years old monster or an experienced Xiantian realm martial artist. Therefore, they were stunned when they saw Ning Qi. You want to see me? What's the matter? Ning Qi walked to Hua Moon Pavilion, looked around and said with a faint smile, Are you the person in charge of this place? Hua Yuding kept sizing Ning Qi up, but she realized that no matter how hard she looked, she couldn't see through Ning Qi at this moment. Ning Qi gave her the feeling that he was just an ordinary person with no secrets. Mastermind. Ning Qi looked at her with a faint smile. I'm just a passerby who's here to rest for a while. If you're looking for someone in charge, you should be looking for Patriarch Zhao Zhuo. Hua Yuding was stunned. She didn't expect Ning Qi to answer her like this. After the shock, Hua Yuding moved slightly and attacked Ning Qi like lightning. As the #1 assassin in Sky Dragon Country, she was extremely fast. Even the monarch of Sky Dragon Country, or the sect leader of Sky Dragon Sect, would not be able to defeat her in a short distance. Even Li Shang might not be as fast as her. Qianlong's mouth opened slightly, but it was too late to stop Hua Yuding. However, he was a little curious. He wanted to see if this young man was the backer of the Zhao clan. Puff. Hua Yuding appeared behind Ning Qi with a glittering dagger in her hand. The sharpest part of the dagger fell on Ning Qi's neck, but, this time, it didn't even break Ning Qi's skin. Hua Yuding's eyes showed a trace of fear as she looked at Ning Qi in disbelief. She was confident that she could kill someone at the same level as her with this move, if that person didn't have any defensive measures. So naughty! Ning Qi smiled as he pinched the dagger. In the next moment, the dagger became extremely hot and turned into a fiery red molten iron. Hua Yuding only felt a pain in her palm. She hurriedly took a few steps back and looked down. Her palm was already full of blisters. Chapter 2165. Who the hell are you? Hua Yuding looked at Ning Qi with a complicated expression. She was sure that the gap between them was too big, and she was no match for him. He was most likely a grandmaster from the 3 dynasties. A passerby. Ning Qi smiled. Passerby? Zhao Ruo and the others' expressions changed slightly. They had already guessed that Ning Qi would leave the Zhao mansion one day. However, by that time, the Zhao mansion would have become the number 1 family in Tianlong Kingdom, or even the number 1 family in Tiansu dynasty. Senior, are you a grandmaster? I am the crown prince of Tianlong Kingdom. Qianlong suddenly took a step forward and bowed respectfully. Hiss! Everyone in the Zhao mansion gasped and looked at Qianlong in disbelief. Even Zhao Zhuo was shocked by Qianlong's background. The status of the crown prince of Tianlong Kingdom was much higher than that of a Qi-controlling realm martial artist from Tianlong sect. In the past, Zhao Zhuo and the others would have knelt down. When they heard Qianlong reveal his identity, many of them wanted to kneel. However, they realized that the Zhao mansion was different now. Since the master didn't bow, they didn't need to kneel either. The crown prince of Tianlong Kingdom? Ning Qi's eyes moved slightly, and he looked at Qianlong with a faint smile. At such a young age, you're already in the 10th order of the true element realm. You're only half a step away from the Qi-controlling realm. Senior, you flatter me. Qianlong smiled modestly. But, Ning Qi smiled and shook his head. Zhao Jiu was startled. Senior Beixian, are you talking to me? Anyone in the Zhao mansion has better aptitude than you. For example, he might be able to catch up to your current realm in a few months. Ning Qi smiled. Qianlong was startled and looked at Zhao Jiu subconsciously. He was just a rank 1 true element realm cultivator. Would he be able to surpass him in a few months? He looked at Ning Qi in disbelief. With such a cultivation speed, even his father, Tianlong, had never seen it before. Even the monarch of the kingdom had never seen it before, right? Zhao Jiu excitedly looked at Ning Qi. In fact, he didn't know what degree his aptitude had reached. After all, he was just a servant before, so there was nothing to compare himself to, but Ning Qi's words were the truth to him. Since Ning Qi said he could break through to the 10th order true element boundary in a few months, then he was willing. I can definitely do it. Senior, in this small Zhao mansion, there are actually hundreds of hidden dragons and crouching tigers. This junior is truly impressed, but a first-order true element boundary cultivator wanting to break through to the 10th order true element boundary in just a few months, I'm afraid even with senior's strength, it is impossible. Otherwise, then wouldn't the true energy realm cultivators under the 3 dynasties be as numerous as the hairs on a cow? Qianlong smiled sheepishly. Everyone knew that he was right, especially Hua Yuting and the other 2. They clearly knew that even if a Grandmaster Realm Master were to give someone an enlightenment, it would be impossible for a first-order true element boundary cultivator to break through to the 10th order true element boundary in just a few months. At most, it would be an advancement of 1 or 2 stages, and it would be very damaging to one's foundation. No Grandmaster Realm Master would do such a thing that would harm himself to benefit others. However, the people of the Zhao mansion were different. They had seen Ning Qi's divine ability with their own eyes and had become Ning Qi's followers. Naturally, they believed everything Ning Qi said. You don't believe me? Ning Qi smiled faintly. This junior really doesn't believe it. Qianlong hesitated for a moment, then nodded. Ning Qi smiled. Suddenly, a drizzle fell from the sky. When the rainwater fell on Zhao Zhuo and the others, their expressions changed. Zhao Zhuo and the others were originally Qi-controlling realm cultivators. When the rainwater seeped into their bodies, they found that their cultivation was skyrocketing. First-order Qi-controlling realm, second-order Qi-controlling realm, third-order Qi-controlling realm. In the blink of an eye, Zhao Zhuo and the others had broken through to the 10th order Qi-controlling realm. The next moment, their true energy began to change qualitatively. A Xiantian realm aura exuded from the 5 of them. The Zhao Mansion disciples who were originally true energy realm also broke through crazily. Not long after, their auras had undergone earth-shattering changes, and their bodies exuded a faint qi-controlling realm aura. More than 300 qi-controlling realm auras and 5 Xiantian realm auras filled this small space. Hua Yuding, Qianlong, Qi Fei, and Wu Zhong looked at this scene dumbfounded. The shock in their hearts could no longer be expressed in words. In the entire Sky Dragon country, there were only a dozen warriors in the primordial realm. But now there were 5 warriors in the primordial realm, more than 300 warriors in the Qi-controlling realm, and Ning Qi, who had unfathomable abilities. Such a force might have completely surpassed the Sky Dragon sect, or even the entire Sky Dragon country. Nation. What's going on? How did they suddenly all reach the Qi-controlling realm? More than 300 Qi-controlling realm warriors. This. Qi Fei felt a chill run down his spine, and a layer of cold sweat appeared on his forehead. Originally, being surrounded by more than 300 true energy realm warriors made him feel a little uncomfortable. Now that he was surrounded by more than 300 Qi-controlling realm experts, Qi Fei suddenly felt like a sheep walking into a pack of wolves. Senior Bei Xian, Wei Zhaoruo and the others looked at Ning Qi in shock. Ning Qi smiled and said to Qianlong, "Do you believe me?" Qianlong opened his mouth and then fell silent. He didn't know what to say to express his shock. "It's the rain." Wu Zhong was a little excited. He quickly opened his mouth to catch the rain, but his body didn't change at all. After a few breaths, he came to his senses and looked at Ning Qi in shock. What kind of trick is this? A single rain helped more than 300 true energy realm warriors to break through to the Qi-controlling realm, and 5 Qi-controlling realm warriors to break through to the Xiantian realm? Hua Yuding looked at Ning Qi with a pale face. Her mind was in a mess. Ning Qi smiled and turned to walk toward the yard. Qianlong suddenly came to his senses. A hint of excitement appeared in his eyes, and he immediately knelt on the ground and kowtowed. "Senior, please take me as your disciple." His action stunned Hua Yuding and the others. But Qianlong suddenly thought of a key point. Why did this senior show such a divine trick in front of him? There was only one answer. Qianlong didn't know whether his guess was right or not. Even if he didn't, he would never let go of this opportunity. Ning Qi's performance had surpassed his understanding of Grandmaster Realm warriors, and even surpassed his understanding of this world. This was no longer a mortal's trick. Chapter 2166. Let's go, Crown Prince Qian. Ding Feng walked up to Qianlong and smiled. There was a hint of envy in his eyes. Zhao Ruo, Xiao Li, Zhao Zhua, the chief butler, and the other disciples hadn't become Ning Qi's disciples. They had only cleansed their marrows and improved their abilities with Ning Qi's help. The relationship between the two was rather strange. Perhaps it was as Ning Qi had said. He was only repaying Zhao Ruo for picking him up. On the other hand, Ning Qi had asked Qianlong to stay in the Zhao mansion. No matter how slow Ding Feng was, he could sense the difference. That was why he was envious. Qianlong stood up in surprise. He still couldn't believe that Ning Qi had really asked him to stay in the Zhao mansion. Didn't that mean he had succeeded? "Thank you, brother." Qianlong hurriedly cupped his hands and bowed towards Ding Feng. At this moment, no matter what status he had, he did not dare to underestimate anyone from the Zhao mansion. "Crown Prince Qian, my duty is to protect you. I will be wherever you are." Hua Yuding said. "I'm sorry, Palace Master Hua. Senior Bei Xian has already made it clear that only Crown Prince Qian can stay. Everyone else, please send the guests away." Hua Yuding's face darkened. She was about to lose her temper, but she glanced at the yard and then at Qianlong Yuding. "I'm very safe here. Take Elder Qi and Elder Wu and leave first." Qianlong nodded with a smile. If the Zhao mansion wanted to harm him, they could kill all of them right now. Therefore, it was safe to stay here. Hua Yuding remained silent for a while, then nodded and left. Crown Prince Qian, Qi Fei and Wu Zhong were hesitant. They also wanted to stay in the Zhao mansion. Elders, I'll have to trouble you to lead the way this time. Qianlong smiled and cupped his hands. Seeing this, the two of them knew that it was impossible for them to stay, so they could only nod and leave the Zhao mansion with Hua Yuting. Hua Yuting didn't walk through the city gate after leaving the Zhao mansion. Instead, she floated away like a fairy. When the cultivators in the vicinity saw this, they were secretly shocked. Such a movement technique meant that the other party's cultivation was definitely not weak. Palace Master Hua has left. What about us? Shall we go back to the Sky Dragon sect? Wu Zhong looked at Qi Fei. I think it's necessary for me to pay a visit to the royal palace and report this matter. I want the king to know that such a godlike figure has appeared in a small city like 100 Mountain City. Perhaps there's some secret behind this. I wonder if it's a good thing or a bad thing. Qi Fei looked solemn. He looked behind him with lingering fear. The small Zhao mansion had more than 300 Qi-controlling realm warriors, 5 Khanate realm warriors, and a senior Beixian whose strength was unknown and who had terrifying skills. How about this? You go and inform the country king and I'll inform the sect master. Wu Zhong said. Very well. Qi Fei nodded. The next day, Qianlong slowly opened his eyes. He had been cultivating the whole night. At this time, the sky was only a little bright. Qianlong's mind was not calm enough, so he stood up and left the room. This courtyard was arranged by Ding Feng for him. It was much more luxurious than Ning Qi's, so it should be his. Even with his status, Zhao Zhuo and the others were still in awe of him. After all, he was the son of the king of Sky Dragon Country. As soon as he left the courtyard, Qianlong heard a collective yell coming from a place not far away. The sound came directly from the air, causing the ground to tremble. That is... Qianlong quickly walked towards the source of the sound. Soon, he arrived at the training field of the Zhao family. He saw hundreds of Qi-controlling realm masters holding long sabers and practicing with Ding Feng. Zhao Zhuo and the chief steward were also among them. Ning Qi did not personally teach them the 5 tigers breaking the gate saber technique, but let Ding Feng do it for him. Instead, he let Ding Feng teach them. Every time Ding Feng brandished his saber, it was as if he was cutting through the void, creating a powerful gust of wind. The disciples of the Zhao clan behind him did not dare to be distracted, they focused on learning. More than 300 Qi-controlling realm experts brandished their sabers in unison. Waves of killing intent gathered together, causing Qianlong's heart to pound. This power, if used well, might be able to drive straight into the imperial palace. Unless his father took action personally, other Khanate realm warriors might not be able to stop him. However, even if his father took action, he might not be a match for that person. Qianlong looked at Ding Feng and the others enviously. The level of the 5 tigers blade technique was considered mediocre in the central mainland, but in a place like this, it was extremely powerful and profound. What do you think of this saber technique? A voice was heard beside Qianlong. Qianlong was startled. He quickly turned around and saw Ning Qi looking at Ding Feng and the others with a smile. Senior Beixian, this saber technique is very profound. Even the top secret manuals in the Imperial Palace are not as good as it. Qianlong cupped his hands and bowed. Profound, Ning Qi smiled. At that moment, the people in the training field had just finished their move. When they saw Ning Qi, they all looked at him with admiration. Senior Beixian. Ding Feng leaped and crossed a distance of more than 10 feet. He landed in front of Ning Qi and bowed. One of the moves was wrong. Ning Qi said calmly. Ding Feng was slightly taken aback and then felt a little guilty. Give me the saber. Ning Qi smiled. Taking the saber, Ning Qi used the same strength as Ding Feng, a rank 4 Qi refinement cultivator. This move, be it the direction of the saber or the control of the force, had reached the highest level of skill that could be achieved in his current realm. The saber aura was like a long rainbow, flashing past everyone's eyes. Following that, a series of gasps came from the training field. In front of everyone, there was a 300 feet deep ravine. This was created by Senior Beishuan's move just now? Everyone stared at the ravine in front of them, dumbfounded. They could faintly feel the remaining sharp saber intent in the air. The force I used was the same as yours. Do you know what the difference is? Ning Qi smiled. Ding Feng received the saber in a daze. Then, he used all his strength to slash out with his saber. In the end, there was a gully that was about 2 meters long in front of him. Compared to Ning Qi's gully, it was like the difference between a caterpillar and a giant dragon. Qian Long was shocked to see this. He stared at Ning Qi in disbelief. If what Ning Qi said was true, didn't that mean that every Khanate realm martial artist could, in theory, create such a powerful destructive force, as long as one's technique reached Ning Qi's level? Chapter 2167. Tianlong Nation. Imperial Palace. Unlike the outside world, the atmosphere in the Imperial Palace was a little tense. Not only was the king of the Sky Dragon country, Gansu, present, even the sect leader of the Sky Dragon sect was present. Apart from the two of them, there were dozens of people sitting in the main hall. These were the top experts of the Qi-controlling realm in the Imperial Palace and the Sky Dragon sect. Think about it. If the Heavenly Dragon country merges with my Godly General country, it will be beneficial to both sides. Now that my brother is about to break through to the Grandmaster realm, the Godly General country will become a Godly General dynasty. If you don't, then we will kill you all. A figure stood in front of Gansu and the Heavenly Dragon sect's chief, as he spoke in an indifferent tone. This person had a skinny figure, and a gloomy expression could be seen in his eyes. His body exuded a faint Xiantian realm aura, slightly weaker than the Heavenly Dragon sect's chief. Similar to Gansu, he was a 9th Order Xiantian realm expert. Not only that, his status is extremely high. He was the younger brother of the ruler of the Godly General country, the strongest country under the Heavenly Void dynasty, the war prince of the Godly General country, Li Jiuyin. As soon as Li Jiuyin finished speaking, the atmosphere in the main hall became even colder. Gansu's sons, the experts in the palace, and the experts of the Sky Dragon sect all looked at Gansu and the Lord of the Sky Dragon sect. There was a trace of shame and anger in their eyes. Li Jiuyin was too arrogant. He wanted to annex the entire Tianlong nation with just one sentence. It was really infuriating. He, Li Jiuyin, we don't even know if your brother can break through to the Grandmaster realm. You dare to come to my Tianlong nation today. Do you think I will let you go back alive? Gansu sneered. The aura of the Heavenly Dragon sect master was released. Li Jiuyin smirked when he saw this. He looked at the two mockingly and said, "Did you really think that I came alone?" Just as he finished speaking, two figures walked in from outside. Both of them were Xiantian realm experts, and neither of them was weaker than the Sky Dragon sect chief. When Gan and Su saw these two people, their expressions immediately changed greatly. This was because they were very familiar with these two people. They were two of the famous Xiantian realm experts from the 7 countries under the Heavenly Void dynasty. Their cultivations were comparable to the sect leader of the Heavenly Dragon sect. "You've also become the dogs of the Godly General nation?" Gansu said coldly. "Gansu, don't put it in such a bad way. A wise man submits to circumstances. Don't tell me you don't understand this logic after living for so long?" One of them had a ruddy complexion and a loud voice. The moment he opened his mouth, all the martial artists in the hall below the Xiantian realm felt their blood boiling. "Zhang Gao, retract your lion's roar," the sect master of the Heavenly Dragon sect said faintly. Zhang Gao smiled, a hint of mockery in his eyes. I'm used to it. Sorry. You too, I'll give you 10 days to think about it. If you're late, I won't wait. Li Jiuyin smiled faintly. Gansu didn't say anything, but his expression turned ugly. At this moment, one of his personal guards suddenly walked into the main hall and whispered a few words into Gansu's ear. Bring him in. Gansu said with a weird expression. Yes. The guard nodded and left. Soon, he brought Qi Fei into the main hall. Qi Fei's heart skipped a beat when he saw so many Qi-controlling realm experts in the main hall, as well as a few Xiantian realm experts. He didn't know what was going on. Where is my son, Qianlong? Gansu said faintly. Reporting to the monarch, Crown Prince Qian is in the Zhao residence in 100 Mountain City of Sisui Prefecture. Qi Fei quickly cupped his hands and said. Li Jiuyin and the others were about to leave, but after Qi Fei entered the main hall, they stopped and looked at him with a faint smile. You said that you have urgent news to report to me, is that it? Gansu frowned slightly. Qi Fei had already noticed that the atmosphere here wasn't right. Seeing that Gansu seemed to be a little angry, he quickly said, Monarch, there's another important matter, but… He glanced at Li Jiuyin and the others. These people's aura were obviously Xiantian realm expert. With his cultivation, even if he sent a voice transmission, it would be heard by these few people. No one would hear it. Is there anything else that we can't hear? Li Jiuyin smiled faintly, with a hint of mockery in his eyes. At the same time, a wave of aura came from his body and swept towards Qi Fei. Qi Fei only felt his body sink, and couldn't help but take a few steps back. What's the matter? Just say it. Since these few people want to hear it, let them hear it together. Gansu took a step forward and stood between Qi Fei and Li Jiuyin. Because Gansu helped to block Li Jiuyin's aura, Qi Fei immediately heaved a sigh of relief. After hesitating for a moment, he told them what he saw in the Zhao mansion in Baishan city of Sisui Prefecture. The more the martial artists in the main hall listened, the more ridiculous they felt. How could there suddenly be hundreds of true energy realm martial artists in Sisui Prefecture? And after a reign, these true energy realm martial artists became Qi-controlling realm martial artists, and the few Qi-controlling realm martial artists became Xiantian realm martial artists? It was simply an absurd story. Everyone looked at Qi Fei with a trace of coldness in their eyes. Elder Qi Fei, is what you said absolutely true? The Lord of Sky Dragon Sect said lightly. Lord, I saw it with my own eyes. Qi Fei hurriedly cupped his hands and said, Ha ha ha, Chen Xiaofeng, is your subordinate's brain beaten silly? What 300 true energy to Qi-controlling realm martial artist? Is this something that a Qi-controlling realm martial artist can say? As for that mysterious expert, I'm afraid you guys made it up to scare the divine general nation, right? Li Jiuyin couldn't help but laugh. Zhang Gao and another Xiantian realm martial artist also laughed. Li Jiuyin, if you want to listen, then listen. Why are you interrupting? The Lord of Sky Dragon Sect, Chen Xiaofeng, glanced at Li Jiuyin coldly, then looked at Gansu. I know Elder Qi Fei very well. Without seeing it with his own eyes, he definitely wouldn't dare to lie to us. Your Majesty, since Prince Qian is staying in the Zhao mansion, why don't we go and check it out ourselves? Gansu was silent for a few breaths, then glanced at Li Jiuyin, nodded, and smiled at Chen Xiaofeng. All right. After a pause, he looked at Li Jiuyin. Li Jiuyin, you guys should go too. Gansu, what I said before. Didn't you give me 10 days? It's not time yet, why are you in such a hurry? Gansu said lightly. Chapter 2168. The 300 or so Joss flames in the Zhao mansion are even more exuberant. With them as seeds, as long as this place is not destroyed, the Joss flames will not stop. Ning Qi withdrew his divine will and the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. Although the ancient immortal Joss flame body refining art was a bit of a hindrance, as long as he planted a seed, that place would continuously produce Joss flames to temper his body. The more seeds he had, the more Joss flames his body would obtain in the future. It would be very powerful. However, there was one troublesome thing. Faith couldn't be achieved through simple violence. If people didn't accept it, they would only be filled with fear and wouldn't be able to gather Joss flames. Right now, he could only slowly cook the soup with the Zhao mansion as the center and make everyone in the world believe in him. After this period of recuperation, even though only a few months had passed in the outside world, Ning Qi had stayed in the top-class training ground for more than 100 years. All the hidden injuries in his body had basically healed, and his cultivation base had returned to its peak. With his current strength, he could cross the void and head to the land of the immortals. When his cultivation reached a certain level, he would be able to find his way back to the central continent. The disciples of the Zhao mansion discovered that Ning Qi often appeared in various parts of the Zhao mansion during this period of time, and he would even go to 100 Mountain City to take a stroll. They were very curious. Previously, Ning Qi had basically been in seclusion in Ding Feng's courtyard, and sometimes they would not see him for more than 10 days. Is there still no news? Huang Batian frowned. A bone-forging martial artist was kneeling in front of him. Family head, the young miss said she invited the Sky Dragon sect's experts to the Zhao mansion, but we don't know why there's been no movement. Could it be that even the Sky Dragon sect is afraid of the Zhao family? Impossible. Even if the Zhao family is stronger than the Hidden Cloud sect, how can it compare to the number 1 sect of the Heavenly Dragon Kingdom? Well, it should be that the experts of the Heavenly Dragon sect are busy. After a while, they will definitely come to 100 Mountain City. At that time, I want to see if the Zhao mansion can be tough in front of the Sky Dragon sect. Huang Batian sneered. You can leave. Keep a close eye on the Zhao mansion. If anyone enters or leaves, report to me immediately. Yes. Have you gotten used to staying here? Ning Qi looked at Qian Long with a faint smile. Qian Long was sitting cross-legged cultivating. When he heard Ning Qi's voice, he quickly got up and bowed respectfully. Disciple greets master. In this period of time, he had become Ning Qi's disciple in name, and with Ning Qi's help, he had completed the marrow cleansing, greatly increasing his talent. His cultivation base had long surpassed Zhao Ruo and the others, leaping 2 major realms to become a 5th-order Xiantian realm expert. This level of strength had already surpassed Flower Moon Pavilion. Most importantly, it only took him less than a month to complete such a transformation. Of course, Qian Long was not complacent because of this. He clearly knew that everything he had was given to him by Ning Qi. Without Ning Qi, how could he have broken through to the Qi-controlling realm in less than a month? Break through to the innate realm? Master, compared to the Imperial Palace, there's less intrigue here. Everyone is cultivating, and the atmosphere is excellent. I like this place very much. Qian Long said respectfully. And that's good. I heard that there are 3 great dynasties here. Your Heavenly Dragon country is one of the 7 countries under the Heavenly Void dynasty? Ning Qi said with a smile. Qian Long was slightly startled. He didn't understand why Ning Qi would ask this, but he still nodded and said, Master is right. Tianlong is one of the 7 countries in the Sky Void dynasty. Their national power should be considered average. In 3 years, I want Heavenly Dragon Country to replace the Heavenly Void dynasty. Can you do that? Ning Qi said with a smile. Qian Long was stunned, and he stared at Ning Qi in disbelief. However, on second thought, this goal did not seem too difficult to achieve. In 3 years, he would probably be a grandmaster, right? I will do my best, Qian Long said with a serious expression. The Zhao mansion will help you, Ning Qi said with a smile. Qian Long's confidence grew. The cultivators of the Zhao mansion were all extremely talented, and all of them had undergone the marrow cleansing from Ning Qi. With the support of the Zhao Mansion, it would be much easier for Heavenly Dragon Country to get to the Heavenly Void Dynasty. Thinking of this, Qianlong was extremely excited. His father's dream would come true in no time. This is the Zhao Mansion of the 100 Mountain City? Hee, I don't think it's a big deal. A faint laugh came from outside, and there was a hint of disdain in the laughter. Who are you? Gansu, they don't recognize you. Is my son Qianlong here? Qianlong? Could it be that you are? How dare you? Kneel down and greet the monarch. At this moment, footsteps could be heard, and the door was pushed open. Prince Qian, the monarch is here. Are you, Senior Bei Xian? Zhao Jie looked at Ning Qi in shock. He did not expect Ning Qi to be with Qianlong. After the shock, he looked at Qianlong enviously. Master, it's my father's voice. As for the person who spoke first, he sounded familiar, but I can't remember who he is. Qianlong looked at Ning Qi worriedly. After all, the person who spoke first seemed to be ridiculing and disdainful towards the Zhao Mansion. Let's go and take a look. Ning Qi smiled. Zhao Jiu, who was a little flustered by the sudden appearance of Gansu and the others, suddenly became valiant and led the way. Outside the courtyard stood Gansu, Chen Xiaofeng, Qi Fei, Li Juyin, and the others. They had just arrived at the Zhao Mansion and did not knock on the door. Instead, they chose a small courtyard at random from the roof. Coincidentally, it was outside Ding Feng's courtyard. Li Juyin looked around, and there was a hint of understanding in his eyes. Apart from the Qi-controlling realm expert that he had just met, Li Juyin did not sense the existence of a second Qi-controlling realm expert in this place, let alone the Khanate realm warrior that Qi Fei had mentioned. Therefore, Li Juyin thought that all this was just a show that Gansu had ordered people to put on for him to see. Gansu, stop acting. That Qi-controlling realm warrior just now came from your palace, right? Let your son show himself. Li Juyin said with a faint smile. Zhang Gao and Qi Fei laughed when they heard this. At this moment, the door suddenly opened. Everyone looked over and Gansu immediately saw the figure of Qianlong, as well as Ning Qi who was walking in front of him. When Qi Fei saw Ning Qi, his body could not help but tremble. This scene was seen by Gansu and the others. They looked at Ning Qi. There was a strange look in Ning Qi's eyes. Could it be that this person was the mysterious expert that Qi Fei had mentioned? Father. Qianlong came forward and bowed respectfully. Chapter 2169. Li Juyin was a rank 9 innate realm warrior. If it was in the past, Qianlong would not be able to dodge his touch. But now that Qianlong's cultivation had reached rank 5 innate realm, he easily dodged it. Li Juin's hand missed, and a look of astonishment flashed across his eyes. Haha, nephew Qianlong, it's been a long time since we last met. Your cultivation has improved a lot. What was that footwork just now? Li Juin laughed dryly to cover up his embarrassment. Chen Xiaofeng's eyes were fixed on Ning Qi. His expression gradually changed from awed to surprised, and finally to solemn. This person's aura is very mysterious. I'm afraid what Elder Qi said is true. This person is very likely a Grandmaster Realm expert. Chen Xiaofeng thought to himself. Thinking of this, Chen Xiaofeng could not help but feel excited. Looking at Qianlong's expression, it seemed that he had really taken this person as his master. Perhaps the crisis from the godly general nation could be resolved. Qianlong ignored Li Juin and took a step back. He introduced Ning Qi to Gansu. Father, this is my master. Your master? Gansu's eyes moved slightly. He had been on the throne for a long time and naturally had a trace of an emperor's aura. He subconsciously looked at Ning Qi with a scrutinizing gaze. In the end, he realized that he could not see through Ning Qi at all. Li Juin and Zhang Gao looked at each other and their lips moved slightly. Then, Li Juin laughed loudly and walked towards Ning Qi. He wanted to put his hand on Ning Qi's shoulder and said, "Let me see what you are capable of taking in a crown prince as your disciple." He had to test Ning Qi's background. This was the reason why he came here. His elder brother was about to make a breakthrough. The godly general nation had already mobilized troops and was preparing to establish the godly general dynasty. At this crucial moment, a so-called mysterious expert had appeared. Li Juyin had to test him. "How dare you?" Qianlong's eyes turned cold. Just as he was about to make a move, he saw the corner of Ning Qi's mouth curl up slightly. Qianlong's heart skipped a beat and his eyes revealed a hint of schadenfreude. Li Juyin's palm landed easily on Ning Qi's shoulder. This scene made Gan Su and Chen Xiaofeng a little surprised. How could a normal expert allow a Xiantian realm martial artist to put his hand on his shoulder so easily? Could this really be a show that Qianlong ordered people to put on? But how did Qianlong know that Li Juyin would bring unprecedented danger to Tianlong? He. The corners of Li Juyin's mouth curled up slightly as a look of mockery appeared in his eyes. Just as he was about to speak, his expression suddenly changed. First, his face turned pale, and the next moment, his face turned red. His body began to tremble uncontrollably. Zhang Gao and Li Juyin did not have time to react when they saw Li Juyin's body, as if air was leaking. With a pop, his flesh shriveled. Li Juyin, who was already very thin, became as thin as a stick. His connate aura was also dropping rapidly. Greater Heaven Realm, Qi-controlling realm, True Element Boundary, Bone Forging Stage. When his aura dropped to the Bone Forging Stage, it still did not stop. When no one could sense any aura from Li Juyin's body, Li Juyin staggered a few steps back. He removed his palm from Ning Qi's shoulder and looked at Ning Qi in a daze. He was horrified to find that the innate realm strength that he had cultivated for many years had disappeared without a trace. The true element in his body was also gone. What happened? Li Juyin, are you all right? Zhang Gao and Chen Xiaofeng quickly stepped forward and supported Li Juyin. Until now, the two of them did not realize that Li Juyin's cultivation had been completely destroyed by Ning Qi. Li Juyin's cultivation has been destroyed? How is that possible? Gan Su and Chen Xiaofeng looked at each other in shock. Li Juyin was a rank 9 connate realm martial artist. Even if he was facing a grandmaster, as long as the opponent was below rank 3 of the grandmaster realm, he would be able to exchange at least 10 moves without being defeated. After all, a grandmaster was not a god. On the battlefield, a grandmaster might not be more useful than 10 innate realm martial artists. But now, Ning Qi had destroyed Li Juyin's cultivation without batting an eyelid. From the beginning to the end, the two of them did not see how Ning Qi attacked, and there was no fluctuation of aura from his body. With such strength, could it be Grandmaster perfected? Chen Xiaofeng mumbled to himself. Then, he looked at Ning Qi with a hint of excitement in his eyes. You crippled my cultivation? Li Juyin's voice was a little hoarse. Compared to his arrogant attitude just now, he now looked like a rich man who suddenly went bankrupt and became a beggar by the roadside. His expression was ferocious, unwilling, and desperate. His cultivation has been destroyed? Zhang Gao and Chen Xiaofeng initially thought that Li Juyin had been poisoned. But after hearing Li Juyin's words, they came to their senses and were shocked. Don't tell me you'll only be satisfied if I take your life? Ning Qi smiled. Li Juyin felt a chill in his heart and his face was filled with endless fear. Take him away from this place. If he comes uninvited again, I will kill him without mercy. Ning Qi said calmly to Zhang Gao and Chen Xiaofeng. Hearing Ning Qi's words, Zhang Gao and Li Juyin looked fearfully at Ning Qi, then hurriedly carried Li Juyin away. They did not expect that in less than a quarter of an hour since they arrived at the Zhao mansion, Li Juyin, a 9th-order Xiantian realm expert, would have his cultivation crippled. Most importantly, neither of them could see how Ning Qi did it. They finally believed what Qi Fei had said. There was indeed a mysterious expert in the Zhao mansion who was at least a grandmaster. Master, why don't you let me kill him? Qianlong suddenly said. Li Jiuyin, who was being carried by Zhang Gao and Chen Xiaofeng, trembled. Zhang Gao and Chen Xiaofeng sped up and disappeared from everyone's sight in the blink of an eye. Gansu and Chen Xiaofeng also wanted to help, but Ning Qi did not say anything. They did not dare to act rashly, and could only look on with pity as Zhang Gao and Chen Xiaofeng were taken away. If they missed this opportunity, it would be very difficult to kill the three of them next time. Ning Qi smiled faintly and said, "What's the point of killing him? Someone has to go back and send a message." Qianlong's eyes lit up when he heard Ning Qi's words. He understood what Ning Qi meant, but Gansu and Chen Xiaofeng were confused. Send a message? I am the ruler of Tianlong country, Gansu. Greetings, senior. Gansu stepped forward and saluted solemnly. Chen Xiaofeng followed closely behind. Chapter 2170. Don't stand on ceremony. Ning Qi nodded with a faint smile. Seeing that Ning Qi seemed to be friendly, Gansu and Chen Xiaofeng were relieved. Li Jiuyin's cultivation was destroyed, which made them feel a little afraid of Ning Qi. Senior, are you at the full circle of the Grandmaster realm? Chen Xiaofeng couldn't help but ask with anticipation in his eyes. Ning Qi shook his head with a smile and didn't speak. Gansu and Chen Xiaofeng thought that Ning Qi's cultivation had not reached the full circle of the Grandmaster realm. Although Chen Xiaofeng was a little disappointed, he didn't care too much. Anyway, he was sure that Ning Qi was at the Grandmaster realm. Chen Xiaofeng was a little disappointed. Chen Xiaofeng was currently at the bottleneck of rank 10 Xiantian realm, and was eager to have a Grandmaster realm cultivator to help him break through this bottleneck. Senior, my son has been here for a long time. Please forgive him. Gansu said. Qianlong's aptitude is not bad. Let him stay in the Zhao mansion for the time being. Are you here to see Qianlong? Ning Qi said with a smile. Only then did the two of them remember their purpose of coming here, and they subconsciously glanced at Qi Fei. They had come here because of what Qi Fei had said before, that there were more than 300 true element realm cultivators in Zhao Mansion, and that after a drizzle, all of them had transformed into Qi-controlling realm cultivators, so they came to 100 Mountain City. However, they didn't notice that there were many Qi-controlling realm cultivators here. Maybe Qi Fei was wrong, or maybe the senior in front of them had some kind of trick. The two didn't want to ask anymore. In this world, there was no such trick, unless it was an immortal. Thinking of this, Gansu nodded in accordance with Ning Qi's words. Then, he looked at Qianlong seriously. Just as he was about to praise Qianlong for his serious cultivation, he suddenly realized that something was wrong. This aura Xiantian realm? Gansu was stunned and looked at Qianlong in disbelief. If he wasn't sure that the person in front of him was really his son, he would have thought that it was someone else pretending to be him. Not long ago, Qianlong was only at rank 10 true energy realm. How did he break through in such a short time? Heaven realm? Long what's your cultivation? Gansu's eyes showed a trace of seriousness. He wanted to personally confirm Qianlong's current cultivation. Hearing this, Qianlong's eyes revealed a hint of a smile as he nodded his head. A faint aura of the fifth order Xiantian realm was emitted from his body. Chen Xiaofeng's heart skipped a beat, exclaiming involuntarily, "Fifth order Xiantian realm? Imperial Father, Uncle Xiaofeng, under Master's guidance, I've already broken through to the greater heaven stage." Qianlong cupped his fists and said, "How is this possible? How long has it been?" Gansu mumbled to himself. "Senior, please accept me as your disciple." Chen Xiaofeng suddenly took a step forward and kneeled on the ground. Gansu and Qianlong were both shocked by Chen Xiaofeng's actions. "You and I are not fated." Ning Qi smiled. Hearing this, Chen Xiaofeng's eyes revealed a trace of unwillingness. He remained kneeling on the ground, unwilling to get up. This was a rare opportunity. Or else he wouldn't use his status as the sovereign of the Sky Dragon sect to show such respect. At this moment, a few more disciples of the Zhao Manor walked over. When they learned the identity of these people from Zhao Jiu, their respect for Ning Qi deepened even more. The sect leader of the Heavenly Dragon sect. He was the #1 expert in Tianlong Kingdom. Even he was kneeling in front of Senior Bei Xian. How could the others not be excited? There's no need for you to acknowledge me as your master. I can give you a few pointers on your current bottleneck, but how much you can comprehend will depend on your own comprehension. Ning Qi smiled and lightly waved his hand. Everyone could clearly see a strand of golden light shoot into the space between Chen Xiaofeng's eyebrows. Immediately after, Chen Xiaofeng's body seemed to stiffen. Gan Su's eyes revealed a trace of worry. After a full 5 breaths of time, Chen Xiaofeng suddenly kowtowed 9 times before his face turned solemn. He then stood up and bowed to Ning Qi. "Thank you for your pointers, Senior." Finishing his words, he looked at Gan Su and said, "I've comprehended something, I'm going to go into seclusion." Without waiting for Gan Su to speak, Chen Xiaofeng leaped up and disappeared from everyone's sight. No wonder there are rumors that the Sky Dragon sect's sovereign, Chen Xiaofeng, is a martial arts fanatic. The few disciples of the Zhao Manor looked at each other. Seeing that Chen Xiaofeng had received Ning Qi's pointers, Gan Su naturally asked Ning Qi for pointers as well. He also asked if he could acknowledge Ning Qi as his master. As for the seniority between him and his son after that, Gan Su had never thought about it. However, just like Chen Xiaofeng, Ning Qi had no intention of accepting any more disciples. He only planned to accept 1 disciple in each place. After giving Chen Xiaofeng some pointers, he stayed in the Zhao Manor for another 2 days and left with Qi Fei. Li Juin's cultivation was destroyed. The Divine General Kingdom would definitely take action. Although Gan Su wanted to stay in the Zhao Manor, he had to return to the palace. Take care of the overall situation. At some point in time, the news of the Zhao residence slowly spread to the outside world. Groups of cultivators came, attracted by the Zhao residence's reputation. 100 Mountain City became even more prosperous and lively. One day, just like the last time, hundreds of people from the Zhao residence gathered in the drill ground. This included Ding Feng, Zhao Ruo, Xiao Li, Zhao Zhua, and the chief steward. All of them stood quietly in front of Ning Qi. Everyone was excited. They could vaguely guess what was going to happen next. The sun was shining brightly in the sky, but a thin drizzle suddenly fell. Seeing this, everyone became even more excited. They couldn't help but close their eyes and raise their necks to welcome this holy rain. This rainwater was formed by Ning Qi's immortal spiritual energy. With Ning Qi's current cultivation level, any strand of immortal spiritual energy could increase a cultivator's cultivation level by several levels. However, Ning Qi didn't do this. He deliberately suppressed the effect to around 1 level. Moreover, he waited for Ding Feng and the others to gradually get used to their current cultivation before he started to help them increase their cultivation. This way, even if their foundation was not stable, they would only need some time to meditate. All he needed was some time to meditate, and it would not be easy for him to go berserk. The first to break through was Qianlong. His aura increased by more than 10 times. His body subconsciously floated in the air, followed by Ding Feng, Zhao Ruo, Xiao Li, Zhao Zhua, the chief steward, and the others. One by one, they broke through to the Grandmaster realm, which was the 5th level of the Qi refining realm. It was equivalent to the King of Fighters in the Qin Tang Empire. The other disciples of the Zhao Manor saw these people fly into the air and float in the air. Although they were already prepared, they were still shocked by this scene. Grandmaster Realm. Chapter 2171. After the drizzle, the martial arts practice ground was filled with thick true yuan qi. Even the weakest cultivators were at the first level of the Xiantian realm. Those with the highest cultivation, such as Qian Long and the rest, had all reached the Grandmaster realm. Everyone closed their eyes to feel the thick energy in their bodies. Then, they opened their eyes and looked at Ning Qi. The way they looked at Ning Qi was filled with respect and admiration. Over 300 Xiantian realms, 6 Grandmasters. I'm afraid even the Tianshu dynasty would be shocked by this power. Qian Long thought to himself in shock. Gradually, a look of joy appeared in his eyes. Perhaps in less than 3 years, he would be able to replace the Tianshu dynasty with the country of Tianlong. Zhao Zhuo slowly clenched his fists. The energy flowing in his fists was more than 10 times stronger than when he was in the Xiantian realm. Then, he looked around and saw familiar faces. At this moment, all of them were emitting the aura of the Xiantian realm. Zhao Zhuo wanted to roar to the sky. The Zhao family had risen. With such power, not to mention the number 1 family in Tianlong, they were undoubtedly the number 1 family in the Tianshu dynasty. It's your first time here. Use half a month to familiarize yourselves. Ning Qi smiled. With a slight movement, he disappeared on the spot. Zhao Zhuo and the rest were already used to Ning Qi's ability to come and go without a trace. They were not too shocked. Head butler, Zhao Zhuo said in a low voice. Here. The head butler took a step forward. He could not control his aura and left deep footprints on the ground. Erect a statue of Senior Bei Xian, Zhao Zhuo said in a low voice. Patriarch, what do you mean? The head butler was slightly taken aback. I'm afraid Senior Bei Xian's methods are no different from Buddha. In the future, the disciples of the Zhao family will only worship Senior Bei Xian, Zhao Zhuo said in a low voice. His voice was not loud, but the weakest among them was at the first level of the Xiantian realm. They heard it clearly and agreed with Zhao Zhuo's decision. Thinking back to a few months ago, they were still ordinary people. The strongest among them was only at the bone-forging realm. In a few short months, Zhao Zhuo, Zhao Ruo, the head butler, and Shaoli had all become grandmasters. However, Ding Feng had already reached the grandmaster realm. With such methods, he was no different from a god. The chief steward sought out all the skilled craftsmen in 100 Mountain City, and under his personal supervision, in just 5 days, a huge statue of a deity was erected in the Zhao mansion, which could be seen by passers-by from far away. In addition, each disciple of the Zhao mansion also specially invited a smaller statue of the deity to take back to their own residence. In the room, the godly general nation wasn't too far from the Sky Dragon nation. Zhang Gao and Li Juyin used all the means they had and sent the dying Li Juyin back to the godly general nation's palace as fast as they could. The people in the palace were shocked to see Prince Warlord Li Juyin in such a miserable state. The news quickly spread throughout the palace. Regardless of whether they were on good terms with Li Juyin or not, they all rushed over. They wanted to know why Li Juyin became like this after a trip to Tianlong Nation. In the main hall, the best doctor in the godly general nation, Wu Chuanfeng, who was known as the Divine Doctor, sighed and shook his head. He said, "The meridians in Prince Warlord Li Juyin's body have been completely destroyed. It's not just broken, it's as if they've melted and disappeared without a trace. No matter what kind of treasure it is, even if a Grandmaster Realm Master personally intervenes, it's impossible to reconstruct the meridians." As he spoke, he looked pitifully at Li Juyin, who was lying on the bed on the verge of death. Wu Chuanfeng clearly remembered that the last time he saw Li Juyin, he was so high-spirited and vigorous that he could kill an elephant with one punch. But now, he had become a tuberculosis ghost. Even an old man like him could kill Li Juyin with one punch. In addition to Wu Chuanfeng in the main hall, there were Zhang Gao and Li Juyin, as well as the princes born by Li Juyin's eldest brother, Li Juyang. There were about 30 to 50 people with great power in the godly general nation. After hearing Wu Chuanfeng's words, their expressions became extremely ugly. Miracle Dr. Wu, it's impossible. How can my father's cultivation be destroyed so easily? He can still be saved. You have to save him. Li Juin's eldest son quickly grabbed Wu Chuanfeng's arm. He was so agitated that his veins were bulging. Wu Chuanfeng took a deep breath. He was just a true energy realm martial artist. Li Juin's eldest son was already a qi-controlling realm martial artist. This grab almost crippled his arm. Seeing this, Zhang Gao quickly went forward to comfort Li Juin's eldest son. At the same time, he looked at Wu Chuanfeng and said, "Miracle Dr. Wu, is there really no other way? If you need any treasures, just tell us. With the power of the godly general nation, there's really nothing in this world that you can't get. The 3 dynasties have to give us some face." Wu Chuanfeng shook his head. "There's no other way. I'm not willing." Li Juin suddenly let out a hoarse growl. "Father, don't be agitated. Don't let your anger affect your health. Miracle Dr. Wu, please prescribe some medicine for my father." Li Juin's eldest son quickly took a step forward and held Li Juin's arm. "No problem." Wu Chuanfeng nodded. "I want to see Big Brother," Li Juin growled. His eyes were bloodshot. When everyone saw his eyes, they couldn't help but feel a chill in their hearts. His eyes were filled with hatred that almost solidified. "Uncle, father is in seclusion, I'm afraid." The crown prince of the godly general nation took a step forward and said in a low voice. Li Juin stared at him coldly with a crazed look on his face. "I want to see Big Brother." "This, all right." The first prince of the godly general kingdom nodded, turned around and left quickly. Li Juin closed his eyes and his chest heaved up and down continuously. The atmosphere in the main hall became increasingly tense. After about 10 minutes, 2 figures appeared at the entrance of the main hall, one after another. When everyone saw them, they hurriedly went forward and bowed. "Greetings, Your Majesty." "Rise." The king of the godly general nation, Li Zhiyang, nodded expressionlessly and then quickly walked to Li Juin. When he saw Li Juin's appearance, his face turned extremely ugly. "Big Brother, avenge me, I'm not willing." Li Juin's eyes were bloodshot and 2 streaks of blood flowed down. "Who beat you up like this?" Li Zhiyang said coldly. At the mention of this, Li Juin was infuriated and became even more agitated. He blurted out, "Tianlong Nation." Before he could finish, his eyes suddenly bulged out and the vitality in his eyes gradually dissipated. Then, his eyeballs were covered with a layer of gray and he suddenly died. "Father!" Seeing this, Li Juin's sons cried out in grief. The atmosphere in the hall changed again. Even those who had a grudge with Li Juin in the past couldn't help but feel that they were in the same boat and felt the same hatred for the enemy. Chapter 2172. Your Majesty, you must avenge my father. My father had devoted his whole life to the godly general nation. I did not expect him to end up like this. If my mother knew about this, she would not be able to accept it. Li Juin's eldest son burst into tears. The rest of his sons also knelt on the ground and looked at Li Zhiyang with bloodshot eyes. "He is my younger brother and you are my nephews. I will definitely avenge him. I did not expect that when I sent Juin to the kingdom of Tianlong to deliver a message, I would be severely injured by them. Gansu, Chen Xiaofeng, how dare you too?" An extremely violent aura surged out from Li Zhiyang. Even Zhang Gao and his companion, who had the highest cultivation in the hall, could not withstand this aura and took a few steps back. Their eyes were filled with shock as they looked at Li Zhiyang in disbelief. The aura of a Grandmaster. Li Zhiyang has broken through to the Grandmaster realm. Although Li Juin had already mentioned this to the 2 of them in advance, when they really found out that Li Zhiyang, whose cultivation was only a notch higher than theirs, had broken through to the Guru realm. The two of them were shocked and touched. "Congratulations, Your Majesty! Congratulations, Your Majesty!" After feeling the aura from Li Jiuyang, everyone in the hall half knelt on the ground in ecstasy and cheered in unison. Li Jiuyang's breakthrough meant that the godly general nation had a chance to become the fourth dynasty. "Why are the two of you not injured at all?" Li Jiuyang's gaze suddenly fell on Zhang Gao and Chen Xiaofeng. Everyone was puzzled. It did not make sense for Li Jiuyin to die while the two of them were unharmed. Zhang Gao's eyes revealed a trace of fear. Li Jiuyang's gaze was extremely terrifying. Just a look from Li Jiuyang was enough to make his heart beat wildly. "Your Majesty, actually Prince Warsky was not injured by Gan Su and Chen Xiaofeng," Zhang Gao quickly said. "What?" Everyone looked at the two of them in disbelief. Li Jiuyin had clearly returned from the kingdom of Tianlong. If the two of them were not the ones who injured him, then who could it be? "Tell me everything in full detail. If you hide anything," Li Jiuyang looked at the two coldly. Although he didn't say it clearly, the two of them knew what Li Jiuyang meant. "I don't dare to hide anything from you. When we arrived at Sky Dragon Country, Prince Warsky was about to leave after delivering the message from the king to Gan Su. However, someone told us that a mysterious expert had appeared in a small family in 100 Mountain City of Sky Dragon Country's Si Shui Commandery. Prince Warsky did not want to make any mistakes in the future. He followed Gan Su to the 100 Mountain City to find out what was going on. In the end, a bitter smile appeared on Zhang Gao's face. In the end, we met an expert. He was the one who crippled Prince Warsky's cultivation. From the beginning to the end, neither of us could see how he attacked. However, we are certain that he is also a martial sage master realm? Did Tianlong also have a Grandmaster realm master? Everyone in the hall was slightly stunned, and they did not believe it. "Are you sure that the other party is a Zhongshe realm expert?" Li Jiuyang said lightly. "Yes." Zhang Gao nodded. "He's just a Grandmaster realm cultivator. He'll still die on the battlefield. Pass down my order. From today onwards, attack Tianlong immediately. Don't leave anyone alive. I want the entire Tianlong country to be buried with the 9 Yin Kingdom," Li Jiuyang said coldly. He wasn't interested in why there was a Grandmaster Realm Master in the nation of Heavenly Dragon. It didn't matter if there was 1 or 10 Grandmaster Realm Masters in the nation of Heavenly Dragon, they would all end up dead. The godly general nation had been waiting for this day for a long time. Someone from the Saint Bull dynasty had already contacted him. If he were to break through to the Grandmaster realm, the Saint Bull dynasty would support his godly general country to break away from the Sky Void dynasty and establish their own dynasty. The only condition was that the godly general country would become the Saint Bull dynasty's ally unconditionally within 3,000 years. Moreover, they would give the Saint Bull dynasty 30% of their taxes every year. Li Jiuyang agreed to this condition without hesitation. When the godly general country was founded, they wanted to be like the 3 great dynasties. This time, he would finally lead the godly general country to fulfill their ancestors' wish. The news of Li Jiuyin's death quickly spread throughout the godly general kingdom. From the marshals to the commoners, they were all furious. They mobilized their troops quickly and attacked the main passes of the Heavenly Dragon Kingdom with great momentum. Although the generals at the passes of Tianlong country received the message from the palace to be careful, they were still no match for the godly general country. In addition, there were already many generals and marshals who defected to the godly general country. In less than half a month, Tianlong country lost 1/3 of its territory. In some places, rivers of blood flowed as the godly general country slaughtered everyone. Master, bad news. The godly general country is attacking Tianlong country. The marshal of the Mountain Sea Pass, Shangguan Feiyu, betrayed the godly general country. The Mountain Sea Pass has been breached. In a few days, The army of the godly general country will arrive at the imperial city. Qian Long stood in front of Ning Qi's room anxiously and bowed. After a while, Ning Qi's voice came from the room. Bring the people of the Zhao mansion and go. Yes. Qian Long's eyes were filled with joy. Then, in just 2 hours, except for a few guards of the Zhao mansion, everyone, including Zhao Ruo, followed Qian Long to the imperial city. It was too late to go to the mountain sea pass now. Xiao Feng is still in seclusion? On the wall of the imperial city of Tian Long country, Gan Su said solemnly. Your Majesty, the Lord of the Heavenly Dragon sect is still in seclusion. No matter how I call for him, he doesn't respond. Gan Su's bodyguard said in a low voice. At this very moment the city walls were filled with soldiers. Because of the Kingdom War, a large number of refugees had surged into the imperial city. These refugees didn't have a place to sleep. They would either sleep under the eaves of those wealthy clans or become beggars and wander the streets. As for the sects in the Heavenly Dragon country, they chose to close their doors and not participate in the Kingdom War. Only a few sects that had a close relationship with the imperial palace had entered the imperial city and were ready to fight to the death with the godly general country. Chapter 2173. Only 300 miles left? Gan Su was slightly startled. At this moment, a figure broke through the air and stood in the void, looking down at Gan Su and the others coldly. A Grandmaster Realm martial artist. Millions of people in the imperial city gasped when they saw this scene. Li Jiuyang. He really broke through to the Grandmaster Realm. What a pity, if Xiaofeng broke through earlier, today's situation might be different. Gan Su's expression was a little ugly. He had broken through to level 10 Xiantian realm under Ning Qi's guidance, but compared to the Grandmaster realm, he was still far from it. Only Chen Xiaofeng, who was already at level 10 Xiantian realm, could possibly break through to the Grandmaster realm in a short period of time. But he did not expect Sky Dragon Country to act so quickly. Could it be that Li Juin's cultivation was not enough to scare them? On the peak of a mountain, a few hundred miles away from the imperial city, stood dozens of martial artists. Other than the 3 leaders, the rest of the martial artists all emitted the aura of the Xiantian realm. The 3 leaders' aura was even more terrifying, much stronger than Li Jiuyang, who had just broken through to the Grandmaster realm. Why did the old ancestor choose to cooperate with Li Jiuyang this time? Is it really because of his divine general nation? Don't make wild guesses about the old ancestor's intentions. We will just follow his orders. Sky Dragon Country only has Chen Xiaofeng. Gan Su's cultivation is not worth mentioning. But Chen Xiaofeng is only at level 10 Xiantian realm. How can he stop Li Jiuyang? We've come here for nothing. If that's the case, let's just watch the show. Since the old ancestor has spoken, how dare we not come here? Among the 3, the Grandmaster Realm martial artist, who seemed to be the most stable and had the highest cultivation, said faintly. The other 2 heard and shut their mouths resentfully. In the imperial city of Sky Dragon Country, the sect leaders of the first-rate sects almost recognized Li Jiuyang. When they saw that Li Jiuyang had the ability to break through space, a faint trace of fear instantly spread in their hearts. The other martial artists also saw some clues from Li Jiuyang's clothes and looked at him with fear and shock. They looked at Li Jiuyang in shock and fear. They had lost confidence in this kingdom war. Perhaps today would be the day of their death. I heard that half of our heavenly dragon nation's territory has already been conquered by the godly general nation. There are tragic battles everywhere. I didn't expect the godly general nation to have a Grandmaster Realm expert. I'm afraid even the king can't stop them. Today we can only fight with our backs against the wall. Wherever the divine general nation goes, they will not leave anyone alive. You and I have no way out. I don't know what caused the godly general country to be so enraged that they actually gave the order to kill. Even if we want to surrender, we can't." The cultivators in the imperial city whispered to each other. Their expressions were either dejected, frightened, or sad. Li Juyang's cold gaze fell directly on Gong Su. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly, revealing a hint of mockery. "Gong Su, why don't I see Chen Xiaofeng?" "He's busy." Gong Su smiled faintly. At this moment, Gong Su was surrounded by all the masters in the imperial city, generals, marshals, princes, as well as the heads of those sects who had a close relationship with the imperial palace. They looked at Li Juyang with a hint of fear in their eyes. This was the first time they had faced a master of the Grandmaster realm. They were a little nervous. Heavenly Dragon Nation is about to be destroyed. As the Guardian sect, Chen Xiaofeng of the Heavenly Dragon sect has something to do and can't come? Or is he hiding because he's afraid? Li Juyang smiled. "Li Juyang, our Heavenly Dragon Nation has no enmity with your godly general nation in the past. Why are you so insistent on killing us?" Gong Su said coldly. "No enmity? So my brother Li Juyin died in vain?" Li Juyang grinned, his eyes full of murderous intent. "Li Juyin is dead?" Gong Su was slightly stunned. He finally knew why the godly general nation attacked Heavenly Dragon Nation so quickly. So this was the reason. If Li Juyin did not die, he believed that with Li Juyang's character, he would at least want to know the details of the person in the Zhao mansion. "Today, none of you will leave this place alive. All of you will be buried with my brother." Li Juyang laughed. His voice was deafening under the surge of true qi and spread throughout the entire imperial city. Gong Su and the others' faces turned a little ugly. The warriors and ordinary people in the imperial city trembled after hearing Li Juyang's words. But they had no way out now. Li Juyang didn't make a move. He just stood in the void. After about half a day, Gong Su and the others could see smoke and dust billowing in the distance. The ground was shaking. Not long after, the million-strong army of the godly general country had arrived at the city. This scene shocked all the soldiers standing on the city wall. This scene made all the soldiers standing on the city wall tremble. Gong Su knew that Li Juyang was waiting for the army, but he had no way to fight back. Now that the million soldiers of the godly general nation had arrived, there were many Xiantian realm warriors, Qi-controlling realm warriors, and true energy realm warriors. A war was inevitable. "Beat them up!" Li Juyang shouted coldly. "Kill!" An earth-shattering roar sounded. Tens of thousands of soldiers took the lead and rushed towards the imperial city. There were several Xiantian realm warriors among them. If they were allowed to approach the imperial city, the city walls would not be able to stop their attack. So, when the enemy attacked, the soldiers who were already on standby in the imperial city also moved. There were also tens of thousands of soldiers. In terms of numbers, they were even more than the soldiers of the godly general nation. In an instant, the battlefield was filled with a faint layer of blood mist. In just a few breaths, hundreds of soldiers from both sides had died. The smell of blood could even be smelled by the ordinary people in the imperial city. After a dozen breaths, the godly general country's side had already gained the upper hand. The troops that Gong Su had sent out had suffered heavy casualties. Most of them had died at the hands of the Xiantian realm warriors of the godly general country. On the city wall, several sect leaders saw this and took the initiative to jump down, rushing towards the Xiantian realm warriors of the godly general country. Only then did they alleviate the disadvantage. "Your Majesty, if this goes on, I'm afraid. Do you want to leave first?" Gong Su's personal bodyguard transmitted his voice with a worried expression. "As long as the city is there, the people are there," Gong Su said lightly. When the personal guard saw this, his face showed a trace of determination. Today was the day he would die for the Heavenly Dragon country. Chapter 2174. On the battlefield below the imperial city, other than the group of soldiers that Gon Su had sent out, who were standing there with a dumbfounded look on their faces, there were only the hundreds of people that had suddenly appeared. Most importantly, almost every single one of these hundreds of people was emitting the aura of a Xiantian expert. A few hundred innate realm experts? Where did these people come from? Whether it was the godly general nation or the Tianlong nation, everyone had the same question. However, the Tianlong nation had a trace of joy in their shock. That was because the other party had killed the soldiers of the godly general nation. Even the 9 innate realm experts were not spared and died on the spot. This meant that the other party was an ally of the Tianlong nation. A few hundred innate realm experts? How could there be so many innate realm experts? Could it be that the Tian Su dynasty realized something? It doesn't make sense. The Tian Su dynasty would not interfere with the kingdom war. Even if they did, they wouldn't send a few hundred innate realm experts. There shouldn't be so many innate realm experts in the Tian Su dynasty, right? There's something strange about this. I'm afraid there's going to be a fierce battle today. I wonder how many Xiantian realm the king can handle. The generals of the godly general country looked at each other and saw the worry in each other's eyes. The 9 Xiantian realms that had just died were practically the strongest fighting force of the godly general country. They were either extremely powerful marshals in the army or the leaders of the top sects in the godly general country. Their faces were pale as they looked at the scene in disbelief. At this moment, the godly general nation only had a few innate realm experts left. Compared to the Tianlong nation, they were far inferior. They could only hope that Li Jiuyang, who had broken through to the Grandmaster realm, would be able to suppress this group of people. Monarch, did you invite them? On top of the city wall, everyone looked at Gon Su with a glimmer of anticipation in their eyes. Even Gon Su himself was stunned. However, when he saw a few familiar figures, his heart was filled with shock. He nodded calmly and said, "They are indeed the helpers of Tianlong country." Really? Everyone was overjoyed. However, they were still curious as to where Gon Su found a few hundred innate realm experts. In the entire Heavenly Dragon Kingdom, there were only 10 to 20 Xiantian realm warriors, including those guys who stayed in seclusion. There were more divine generals in Heavenly Dragon Kingdom. However, there were less than 200 Xiantian realm warriors in the 7 great kingdoms. However, there were at least 300 Xiantian realm warriors here. At the peak of the mountain in the distance, the 3 master realm experts looked at each other in shock. Even in the vast Saint Bull Empire, it was difficult to find more than 300 innate realm experts. Moreover, these innate realm experts looked unfamiliar. They couldn't recognize any of them. Where did these guys come from? From here? Fortunately, there are not many level 10 post-celestial realm martial artists. If Li Jiuyang can't handle it, we will take action. Yes. In the sky, Li Jiuyang's eyes fell on this group of people who suddenly appeared, and a trace of doubt flashed in his eyes. Over 300 Xiantian realm experts were beyond his knowledge. He couldn't figure out where Gon Su had found these reinforcements. If these 300 people were to join hands, even he might not be able to defeat them. It's him, in the godly general country, Zhang Gao, who was riding at the front on his horse, suddenly cried out involuntarily. "Zhang Gao, you recognize them?" The others looked at Zhang Gao. Zhang Gao nodded with an ugly expression. One of them is Gon Su's son, Qianlong. It seems that the others are martial artists from the Zhao Mansion. I didn't expect the Zhao Mansion to have over 300 Xiantian realm martial artists. This is unbelievable. Zhao Mansion? What Zhao Mansion? Many people had never heard of the existence of the Zhao residence. Only those who knew how Li Jiuyang died could guess something from Zhang Gao's word. They all gasped and looked at Qianlong and the others in disbelief. The Zhao Mansion with a mysterious expert? How could a small family in the 100-mountain city of Si Shui Commandery have hundreds of Xiantian realm martial artists? This is already a force that can establish a country. What is their purpose? Li Jiuyang's ears twitched. He finally knew the origin of this group of people. Father, I'm late. Qianlong soared into the sky and landed in front of Gansu. The people on the city wall finally saw Qianlong's appearance and were shocked. Crown Prince. Big Brother? A beautiful middle-aged woman with the aura of the Qi-controlling realm rushed to Qianlong in disbelief. After confirming that this person was really her son, she was surprised and overjoyed. How could the Crown Prince's aura be so terrifying? Even when we got a little closer, we felt suppressed. The Xiantian realm martial artists looked at each other in disbelief. They remembered that Qianlong's cultivation was only at the 10th level of the true element realm not long ago. Did that person send these Xiantian realm martial artists to help? Gansu asked. Yes, it's master's order. Qianlong nodded. Gansu threw his head back and laughed. He pointed at Li Jiuyang and said, Li Jiuyang, your plan is going to fail today. Not only can you not kill me, but I will also invade your godly general country to avenge the innocent people who died. Just a few hundred Xiantian realm martial artists and you are so arrogant. Do you really think my million soldiers are just for show? Li Jiuyang sneered and then gave an order. After receiving the order, the marshals hesitated for a moment before they led their soldiers to charge towards Zhao Zhuo and the others. Seeing this, Gansu immediately ordered his men to open the city gate and sent out the soldiers who had been waiting for orders. Kill! The two sides immediately started fighting. However, because the godly general country had few Xiantian realm martial artists, they were at a disadvantage. On the other hand, the Sky Dragon country's morale was high because of the arrival of the Zhao family. Li Jiuyang stopped watching and was ready to participate in the battle himself. Only in this way could he ensure that the godly general country's soldiers would not be slaughtered by the hundreds of Xiantian realm martial artists. Father, I will go and help. Qianlong looked fiercely at Li Jiuyang and spoke to Gansu. Then, he rose into the air and flew directly towards Li Jiuyang. This scene once again shocked both sides. Even Gansu was shocked. Grandmaster Realm? Big Brother has become a Grandmaster Realm martial artist? Qianlong's brothers looked at this scene in disbelief. They even rubbed their eyes, thinking that they were seeing things. Gansu's lips trembled with excitement. In his mind, the first thing that appeared was a face. Grandmaster? Chapter 2175. 6 Grandmaster Realm Experts? Warriors from both the Divine General Nation and Tianlong country were all shocked by this scene. Their brains seemed to have stopped working, and they couldn't think straight. Although it was a kingdom war, the scale wasn't that huge. It was already shocking enough that Li Jiuyang, a Grandmaster Realm expert, was participating in the war. Now that the Sky Dragon Nation had 6 Grandmaster Realm experts, the morale of the godly general nation had dropped to an extremely low level. Speed. The 3 Grandmaster Realm experts from the Sacred Bull Empire looked at Qianlong and the others in disbelief. After confirming that the 6 of them were Grandmasters who could fly through the air, they looked at each other in horror. Only the 3 great empires had Grandmaster Realm experts. For example, the Sacred Bull Empire had more than a dozen Grandmaster Realm experts. The 3 of them had come here to show respect to Li Jiuyang. The 6 Grandmaster Realm experts from Tianlong country were unfamiliar to them, and they had never seen them before. Where did they come from? The strength of the Zhao mansion is so terrifying. I'm afraid the Divine General Nation's plan is going to fail this time. Zhang Gao's eyes showed a trace of fear, and a thought of retreating rose in his heart. He was not a warrior of the Kingdom of God General, but he was tempted by Li Jiuyang with benefits, So he agreed to cheer for the Kingdom of God General, and at the same time, build a relationship with Li Jiyang. It was impossible for him to die for the Kingdom of God General. How could that person's means be so terrifying? Long Ere was just a warrior of the innate realm not long ago, and he became a Grandmaster in the blink of an eye? And there are 5 other Grandmaster realm experts. Could it be that the reign that Qi Fei mentioned was true? Gan Su fell into shock, and he looked at Qian Long and the others in disbelief. He suddenly remembered the scene that Qi Fei once told him. After a reign, everyone transformed from the true energy realm to the Qi-controlling realm. Then, could it be that after he left, another reign fell, and the warriors of the Qi-controlling realm became the innate realm? Could it be that after he left, the warriors of the Qi-controlling realm became the innate realm, and the experts of the innate realm became the Grandmaster realm? Thinking of this, Gan Su couldn't help but tremble. It was not the tremble of fear, but the tremble of excitement. The king of the divine general nation? Since you are here today, don't leave. Qian Long smiled. Zhao Zhuo and the rest were filled with excitement. Ever since they had reached the Zhongshe realm, this was the first time they were going up against a first-level Zhongshe realm expert. They could fight to their heart's content. Because he did not dare to release a killer move that was too strong, he always felt that it was not satisfying enough. 6 Grandmasters. I didn't expect the Sky Dragon Nation to be able to secretly cultivate such strong warriors. This time, I've been a frog in the well. Li Jiuyang was silent for a few breaths, then said lightly. Changing the topic, Zhang Xian sneered coldly, however, all of you are only first-order Zhongshe realm experts like me. I'm afraid that it's impossible for you all to kill me today. After saying that, he cupped his hands towards the 3 masters of the Sacred Ox Empire and said in a clear voice, Seniors, please lend us a hand. 3 seniors? Li Jiuyang was already a Zhongshe realm expert. Those who could make him call seniors were probably, at least third-order Zhongshe realm experts. Qian Long and the rest immediately showed a trace of fear in their eyes. In the next second, 3 figures broke through the air, and the dozens of innate realm warriors they brought with them also entered the battlefield to help the divine general nation fight against the disciples of the Zhao Mansion. Another 3 master realm experts? Gan Su and the rest's expressions changed slightly. They already knew that these 3 people were probably the helpers that Li Jiuyang had invited. When they discovered that the aura of these 3 people was much stronger than Li Jiuyang, Gan Su, and the rest, Gan Su and the rest's expressions darkened. They looked at Li Jiuyang with intense killing intent. They didn't expect that Li Jiuyang would invite 3 grandmasters for a mere country war. If Qian Long and the rest didn't appear today, the Sky Dragon Nation wouldn't even have a chance to survive. Damn it, Li Jiuyang really wants to kill us. How vicious and vicious. The innate realm warriors couldn't help but curse. Seniors, I've discovered something unexpected this time. Thank you for your trouble. Li Jiuyang cupped his fists. The 3 of them nodded indifferently. Then, their gazes landed on Qian Long and the others. The leader laughed and said, Interesting. A mere Tian Long country actually has 6 grandmasters. I wonder if the Tian Su dynasty has realized this. If it wasn't for the fact that the godly general country attacked you today, your Tian Long country would have been killed. He must be preparing to establish his own dynasty, right? Qian Long and the others didn't say anything. Their faces were solemn. The aura of these 3 people was terrifying, especially the one who spoke. He was probably an expert at the 4th stage of the Supreme Power Realm. He could deal with all 6 of them by himself. They didn't expect Li Jiuyang to have 3 such powerful backers. The battle below had already reached its climax. They didn't care about what was happening above them. Once they caught an enemy, they would kill, 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 kill. With the Zhao Mansion as the leader, the Heavenly Dragon Nation's army turned into a sharp sword and charged forward. The godly general nation's million soldiers were utterly defeated. dozens of innate realm warriors joined the battle. However, they didn't seem to have much of an effect on the battlefield. They were still forced to retreat by the hundreds of Xiantian realm martial artists of the Zhao Mansion. Aren't you going to say anything? That means you admit it. Ha ha ha. The great emperor of the Heavenly Void Empire wouldn't have thought that 2 of the 7 countries under his rule would be disloyal. If we knew about your existence earlier, perhaps the Saint Bull dynasty would have chosen to cooperate with you instead of Li Jiuyang. Hearing this, Li Jiuyang's expression changed slightly. A trace of anger flashed through his heart, but he didn't show it. He maintained a respectful expression on his face. However, the Saint Bull dynasty has always been trustworthy. Since we have chosen to cooperate with Li Jiuyang, you will all die today. As soon as he finished speaking, the 3 of them attacked together. Seeing this, Li Jiuyang didn't participate in the battle. Instead, he flew downward. He had to stop the innate realm martial artists of the Zhao Mansion from killing the soldiers of the godly general nation. Otherwise, even if they defeated the heavenly dragon nation, the godly general nation would suffer great losses. At that time, they wouldn't be able to fight against the heavenly void empire. Seeing this, Qianlong and the others quickly used the 5 tigers breaking the gate blade. In a short period of time, they were evenly matched with the 3 of them. What kind of blade skill is this? The 3 of them had a strange look on their faces. They thought that they would be able to defeat the 6 of them quickly, but they didn't expect the 6 of them to have such powerful blade skills. Seeing this, Gansu's eyes were filled with worry. In less than 10 minutes, Qianlong and the others were already at a disadvantage. Moreover, with Li Jiuyang's participation in the battle below, the advantage of the Heavenly Dragon Nation was slowly turning into a disadvantage. Boom! Qianlong and the others landed heavily on the ground. Blood flowed from the corners of their mouth. The 3 of them stood in the air and looked at them mockingly. At the same time, the hundreds of innate realm martial artists of the Zhao Mansion were forced to retreat by Li Jiuyang and dozens of other innate realm martial artists. The Heavenly Dragon Nation was about to be destroyed. Thank you, seniors. Li Jiuyang flew up and cupped his hands at the 3 of them. Don't thank me yet. It won't be too late to thank you after we kill these 6 people. Chapter 2176. The 3 Grand Masters of the Sacred Bull Empire frowned slightly. Qianlong's action seemed to be sending a message to ask for reinforcements. Could it be Gansu was so nervous that his palms were sweating? Seeing Qianlong's action, his eyes lit up and he vaguely guessed what was going on. Are we going to ask for the help of that mysterious master? Li Jiuyang's expression changed slightly. If it was before today, he would not take the mysterious master seriously. But today, he saw more than 300 innate realm experts and 6 Grand Master experts. It was obvious that the mysterious master was the one behind all this. Seniors, don't give them a chance. Kill them directly, Li Jiuyang said. Don't worry. I'd like to see which Grand Master is behind them. TSK, I know almost all the Grand Masters of the 3 dynasties. Maybe it's an old friend? The leader said with a faint smile. The other 2 were also very calm. In their opinion, Qianlong's backer was at most at stage 3 or stage 4 of the Grand Master realm. With the 3 of them working together, they could even deal with a stage 5 of the Grand Master realm. There was nothing to be afraid of. Hearing that, Li Jiuyang felt a little uneasy, but he couldn't change the decision of the 3 of them. He could only stare coldly at Qianlong and the others. The sergeants of both sides confronted each other, looking at each other. Without Li Jiuyang's order, the people of the Divine General Kingdom didn't dare to act rashly. In fact, they were also afraid of the innate realm warriors of the Zhao Mansion. Without Li Jiuyang's help, they were no match for them. I'll give you 2 hours. If the person you want to ask for doesn't come, I'll kill all of you first and then wait for him here. The leader of the Sacred Bull Empire suddenly said. 2 hours? I'm afraid that won't be necessary. A calm voice rang out in the air above them. Qianlong and the others raised their heads in delight. When they saw Ning Qi, looks of wild joy appeared on all of their faces. However, their hearts were filled with shock. They were not sure if Ning Qi had rushed over from the Zhao mansion or if he had been following them from the very beginning. After all, it had only been less than 10 breaths since Qianlong crushed the jade slip. You are? The 3 grandmasters of the Saint Bull Empire raised their heads and looked at Ning Qi. They were confused because they had never seen him before. Is this the mysterious expert who crippled my younger brother's cultivation and caused his lifespan to run out? Li Jiuyang suddenly looked up at Ning Qi, his eyes filled with endless murderous intent. If not for the fact that he was not confident, he would have already taken revenge for Li Jiuyin. Soon, everyone noticed Ning Qi's arrival. Millions of pairs of eyes landed on Ning Qi. He's here. Zhang Gao's eyes flashed with fear. Zhang Gao, is this the mysterious expert from the Zhao mansion you mentioned? Those Greater Heaven stage martial artists and Grandmaster stage experts are all his subordinates? This person is also at the Zongshe realm, but his cultivation doesn't seem to be very high. His aura is a notch weaker than the 3 from the Saint Bull Empire. That's right. He's that mysterious expert from the Zhao mansion. As for what his cultivation is, I can't tell. In short, he's definitely in the master realm. Zhang Gao took a deep breath and nodded. Hearing this, the experts from the Divine General Kingdom looked at Ning Qi again, and then heaved a sigh of relief. Ning Qi's aura was at most similar to Li Jiuyang's, so he should be at stage 1 of the Grandmaster realm. The 6 stage 1 Grandmaster realm experts had already been seriously injured. Couldn't they save the situation today? It's him. He's the one who killed our father. Li Jiuyin's sons had also followed the army this time because they wanted to see Li Jiuyang avenge their father with their own eyes. Now that they saw Ning Qi, they were extremely enraged. Don't worry, there's only one person. We have 4 Grandmaster realm experts on our side. We can definitely suppress him easily. We just need to keep our eyes open and watch how the king and the others avenge our father. Li Jiuyin's second son said excitedly. Hearing this, everyone nodded and stared at Ning Qi with bloodshot eyes. Master, I've embarrassed you. Qianlong cupped his hands at Ning Qi and said shamefully. Zhao Zhuo and the others' faces were also a little pale. They didn't feel good in their hearts. It was their first time fighting, but 6 of them were seriously injured by 3 people on their side. Master? Is that Big Brother's master? Hearing this, Qianlong's younger brothers and sisters looked at Ning Qi in a different way. They knew what their big brother's cultivation was previously. Now that he had become a grandmaster, there was definitely a peerless master helping him. To be able to help someone break through from the 10th level of the True Element realm to the Grandmaster realm in just a few months, what kind of terrifying divine ability did such a peerless master have? Thinking of this, their eyes became fiery. Since this person has come in person, our Tianlong country will be saved today. Gan Su let out a long sigh of relief, and a faint smile appeared on his face. Such a change of mood made the innate realm cultivators around him a little puzzled. King, this person is... I don't know who this senior is, but you only need to know one thing. Since this senior is here, today's battle is over. Gan Su said with a smile. Although his voice wasn't loud, the people of the Divine General Country heard it clearly, especially the 3 Grandmaster realm cultivators of the Sacred Bull dynasty. Hearing this, their expressions changed slightly, and a trace of suspicion appeared in their eyes. One of them is a 4th stage Grandmaster, and the other 2 are 3rd stage Grandmaster. They have experienced many battles, big and small. You guys are inexperienced, so it doesn't matter if you lose this time. You just need to learn from your mistakes next time. If you lose to this kind of person again, you can go into seclusion for 100 years. Ning Qi smiled at Qian Long and the others. How arrogant! When the three from the Sacred Bull dynasty heard Ning Qi's tone, it seemed that he didn't put them in his eyes at all. A trace of anger appeared in their eyes. Your Excellency, who are you? Do you know that the Divine General Country's attack on Tianlong country today is the order of our Sacred Bull dynasty's ancestor? If you attack without permission, aren't you afraid that our ancestor will personally come to suppress you? The leading Grandmaster Realm Cultivator said indifferently. You shut up. Ning Qi smiled slightly. The Grandmaster Realm Cultivator choked, and the anger in his eyes burned even brighter. Chapter 2177. Everyone, including the three Grandmasters of the Sacred Bull dynasty, Li Zhiyang, Qian Long, the warriors of the Zhao Mansion, Gan Su, and the millions of soldiers in the field, none of them could recover from the shock of what had just happened. The soldiers of the godly General Kingdom were already soaked in cold sweat. They turned around in a daze and saw that less than 100 meters away from them, there was a huge crater. The shape of the crater was very similar to the shape of a palm, but no one knew exactly how big it was. He could calculate it at this moment. They were terrified. If that palm had landed on their heads, perhaps all of them would have been turned into ashes by that palm. What kind of technique was this? Could a peerless expert at the peak of the Grand Master Realm have such means? Absolutely impossible. Ning Qi's palm had already exceeded the scope of their understanding. Impossible. How could there be such a terrifying palm technique in this world? Li Zhiyang looked at Ning Qi in disbelief, and his body began to tremble uncontrollably. He had been the ruler of the Divine General's kingdom for so many years, but he had never been as afraid as he was now, not even when he saw the ancestor of the Sacred Bull dynasty. At this moment, in his eyes, Ning Qi was as terrifying as a ghost. Big brother, the other two Grandmasters of the Sacred Bull Empire couldn't help but stare at their leader. They began to stammer as well. It was clear that they were extremely shocked. This is the ability to overturn mountains and overturn seas? The leading Grandmaster looked at Ning Qi with a deathly pale face. He suddenly remembered a legend. Before today, he had treated this legend as a joke, because in that legend it was recorded that hundreds of thousands of years ago, before the Sacred Bull Empire, the Tianshu Empire and the Zijuan Empire existed in this world. It was because there was once an extremely terrifying martial arts grandmaster. That grandmaster could break mountains and rivers with a single sword strike. He had always thought that this was just an exaggeration from the ancient people. But now, he had personally seen the legendary figure. The effect of this palm was not much different from the sword that could split mountains and rivers. As for which one was stronger, he really couldn't tell. So powerful. Is this Master Beishuan's true power? Qian Long and the others stared at Ning Qi, dumbfounded. They had originally guessed that Ning Qi's cultivation had probably exceeded the scope of the Master Realm and had reached a level that was difficult for them to reach. But what they saw today, they suddenly realized that they were really like frogs at the bottom of a well. Ning Qi's strength had far exceeded the scope of the Master Realm. They were afraid that this was not a level that mortals could reach. Immortal. Senior Beishian must be an immortal. Immortals have descended to the mortal world. The heavens have blessed our Zhao Mansion. Zhao Zhuo threw his head back and laughed. Then, in front of everyone, he dropped to his knees and kowtowed to Ning Qi. Ding Feng, Zhao Ruo, Shaoli, and the rest of the Zhao Mansion's cultivators followed Zhao Zhuo's lead and kowtowed to Ning Qi. Apart from the respect they had for Ning Qi, there was nothing else in their eyes. What? Was this an immortal? Yes. Only a celestial being could have such divine powers. Quickly pay your respects to the immortal. The sergeants of Tianlong came to their senses and followed the people of the Zhao Mansion to kowtow to Ning Qi. 1, 100, 1,000, 10,000. In a few seconds, hundreds of thousands of sergeants of Tianlong knelt on the ground and kowtowed to Ning Qi. Among these sergeants, some were even more devout than the people of the Zhao mansion. They were mumbling to themselves as if they were praying to Ning Qi. This atmosphere infected all the people nearby. Soon, the sergeants on the city wall also knelt down one by one. Even the Qi-controlling realm masters and a few of the innate realm masters knelt down. The innate realm warriors who didn't knelt down still held on to their belief. However, this belief became very fragile until Gansu also knelt down on the city wall and kowtowed to Ning Qi. When Ning Qi kowtowed to Ning Qi, their beliefs finally broke and they all knelt on the ground. Not only the sergeants of Tianlong, but many of the sergeants of the godly general kingdom also dropped their weapons and kowtowed to Ning Qi with fear on their faces. Ning Qi's palm didn't fall on their heads, which made them feel grateful in addition to fear. After one, another followed. More than 30% of the godly general kingdom's millions of sergeants knelt on the ground. "What are you doing? Get up!" A general looked at his personal guard angrily. Except for himself, everyone else around him knelt on the ground and kowtowed to Ning Qi. No matter how the general punched and kicked them, even his closest personal guard refused to get up at this moment. A trace of killing intent flashed in his eyes. With a flash of the blade in his hand, the general chopped at the neck of one of his personal guards. The bodyguard seemed to have sensed this as a look of despair appeared on his face. However, there was no regret in his heart. A long time ago, his father had told him that there were immortals in this world. However, immortals rarely descended to the mortal world. After his mother died, she was also taken away by an immortal. In the future, if he really met an immortal, he must not be rude. This was what his father had taught him personally. He did not dare to forget it. Even if he died, he could not forget it, because he still wanted to see his mother, who had painstakingly brought him up. Clang! There was a crisp sound. The saber in the general's hand suddenly shattered into two pieces. He looked at the long saber in his hand in disbelief, and then looked at the golden light shield on the bodyguard's body. His expression suddenly became incomparably fearful. Only then did everyone realize that the people kneeling on the ground and worshipping Ning Qi all had a trace of faintness on their bodies. Faint golden light. Ning Qi could accept the incense of these believers, so naturally, he could also give back to these believers. This golden light was condensed from the power of incense that Ning Qi gave back to the past. Not to mention that the general was only at the 10th level of the Qi-controlling realm, even if it was the innate realm, the master realm, or even the battle of alchemy that was far beyond these realms. Even those in the innate realm could not think of breaking this protective golden light. Immortal! It really is an immortal! The bodyguard's face was full of tears as he once again worshipped Ning Qi devoutly. This time, hundreds of thousands of soldiers of the divine general kingdom knelt down again. The soldiers who were still standing looked at each other and then knelt down together. "Get up! Don't kneel anymore!" The heirs of Li Juin roared in all directions. When they realized that even the guards in their residence were worshipping Ning Qi, a trace of despair rose in their hearts. They looked at Ning Qi with fear in their eyes, as if they were looking at a devil. Chapter 2178. Everyone stared blankly at Li Zhiyang's back. No one thought that he would run away so decisively. The three grandmasters of the Saint Bull Empire hated Li Zhiyang to the core. If it were not for Li Zhiyang, they would not be in such a dilemma. The king of the divine general nation has escaped. Our divine dragon nation has won. The people of Tianlong were very excited. They looked at Ning Qi with even more respect and gratitude. If it wasn't for Ning Qi, they would have been dead. Their country would have been destroyed. Ning Qi smiled and stretched out his hand. Li Zhiyang, who had already escaped a few miles away, was caught by a giant hand made of celestial qi. "Did I say you could go?" Ning Qi smiled lightly. This, Li Jiuyang struggled in horror, but no matter how hard he tried, he could not break free from the giant hand on his body. Li Jiuyang's heart grew more and more frightened, and a thin layer of cold sweat appeared on his forehead, sliding down his cheeks to his neck. "Hiss!" everyone gasped. Their eyes fell on the giant hand made of celestial qi, and a trace of fear appeared on their faces. Especially the three grandmasters of the Saint Bull Empire. Their original arrogance was completely shattered by Ning Qi's two move. The only thing left was fear. Such means. Even the old ancestor could not resist it. How can he control true core strength to such an extent? Who is he? Big brother, what should we do now? Don't worry, let's observe the situation first. Fortunately, we did not kill the 6 grandmasters. There should be room for negotiation. The leading Master Realm cultivator forced himself to calm down and sent a telepathic message to comfort them. He saw that Ning Qi's palm didn't hurt any of the soldiers of the Immortal General Kingdom, so he thought that Ning Qi was a merciful man and wouldn't kill them. Senior, don't kill me. I was reckless today. I am willing to dissolve the Divine General Nation as an apology. Seeing that he could not break free, Li Jiuyang immediately begged Ning Qi for mercy. Master, Li Jiuyang killed many civilians of the Divine Dragon Nation this time. Many big cities were massacred by him. If we don't kill him, we will not be able to appease the people. Qianlong quickly said. Li Jiuyang had to die. He was afraid that Ning Qi would let him go because Li Jiuyang begged for mercy. Ning Qi smiled. With a thought, the giant palm formed by the immortal Qi suddenly squeezed. Li Jiuyang only had time to let out a desperate roar before he was crushed into minced meat. At this point, the remaining marshals and generals of the godly General Kingdom, who were unwilling to surrender, all threw down their weapons and knelt on the ground. Now that the king was dead, the godly General Nation would most likely be annexed by the Sky Dragon Nation in the future. They had no reason to persist any longer. As for the people from the royal palace, after seeing Li Jiuyang's death, they fell into deep despair. Some knelt down, while others stubbornly stood where they were. The 3 of you are from the Sacred Bull Empire? Ning Qi looked at the 3 grandmasters. As senior, the 3 of us are indeed from the Saint Bull Empire. What happened today was actually just a misunderstanding, the 3 of them quickly replied. Misunderstanding? I don't care what kind of misunderstanding it is. Bring back a message. From today onwards, the Divine Dragon Nation will officially declare war on the Saint Bull Empire. Either you all die or you all merge with the Divine Dragon Nation. It's that simple. Do you understand? Ning Qi said with a smile. What? The 3 of them looked at Ning Qi in shock. A trace of fear flashed in their eyes. They wanted to say something, but they found that Ning Qi's eyes were much colder than before. The 3 of them shivered and hurriedly nodded. They did not dare to say a word and left with the dozens of innate realm warriors. They left this place. Qianlong, you can clean up this mess yourself, right? You don't need me to do anything. Ning Qi looked at Qianlong with a faint smile. Qianlong hurriedly nodded. Seeing this, Ning Qi smiled. With a slight movement of his body, he disappeared on the spot. This scene caused the soldiers who were worshipping him to be extremely shocked, and they were even more certain of Ning Qi's identity as an immortal. Soon, with the cooperation of Qianlong, the Zhao Mansion, and the help of Gansu, the soldiers of the godly General Kingdom in front of the Imperial City were reorganized in less than half a day. Apart from the few innate realm warriors and the Qi-controlling realm warriors, the rest of the soldiers were distributed to the Divine Dragon Nation's army. In the end, the war that was enough to destroy the Divine Dragon Nation made the national strength of the Divine Dragon Nation skyrocket. Qianlong's brothers and sisters, as well as his uncles, looked at him with strange and excited gazes. They did not dare to step forward and speak until they realized that Qian Long did not distance himself from them even though he had reached the Grandmaster realm. Only then did they rush to Qian Long's side and excitedly chat with him. "Speak slowly. Second brother, you go first." Qian Long smiled and said. Qian Long's second brother was so excited that his face turned red. "Big brother, is that senior really your master? Is he an immortal?" The scene was silent. All eyes fell on Qian Long, as if they wanted to know the answer to this question from him. Qian Long's face became solemn. He looked around and said with his head held high, "Master's methods are divine. If he is not an immortal, what else could he be?" As expected, everyone felt as if their hearts had been hit by a heavy hammer. Their bodies swayed. Finally, Qian Long's younger brothers and sisters became even more excited. They all wanted Qian Long's help. They also wanted to be his disciples. Don't even think about becoming his disciple. Senior Bei Xian has already said that he will not accept any more disciples. Even we are not qualified to be his disciples. Ding Feng walked up to Qian Long and curled his lip. Everyone recognized Ding Feng and knew that he was also at the Grandmaster realm. Their expressions became more respectful, but Ding Feng's words made them feel uncomfortable. Ding Feng is right. Master has already made it clear that he will not accept any more disciples. However, if you are willing, I can ask Ding Feng to accept you as his disciples. Qian Long smiled. Ding Feng was stunned. Qian Long's younger brothers and sisters were also stunned. They only reacted when Gan Su sent a voice transmission to remind them. They decisively knelt on the ground and accepted Qian Long as their master. Although they were somewhat disappointed that they could not become the disciples of an immortal, it was still a rare opportunity to become the disciple of a Grandmaster realm existence. How could they miss it? Crown Prince Qian Yu Ding Feng smiled bitterly. Since Qian Long had spoken, he had no reason to refuse. I will have to trouble brother Ding Feng to take care of my younger brothers and sisters from now on. Chapter 2179. The Sacred Bull Dynasty. As one of the three great dynasties, the Sacred Bull Dynasty's influence was almost everywhere. Even the Tianshu dynasty and the Zijuan dynasty had traces of the Sacred Bull Dynasty. For example, Li Jiuyang was secretly trained by the Sacred Bull Dynasty. Otherwise, with Li Jiuyang's talent, it would be impossible for him to break through to the Grandmaster realm. The Sacred Bull Dynasty did so many things to make the situation chaotic. Only then could they find an opportunity to suppress the Tianshu dynasty and the Zijuan dynasty. As a dynasty, in addition to the Sacred Bull Emperor, there were more than 20 Grandmasters in the dynasty. These Grandmasters varied in strength. The strongest was at the 8th rank of the Grandmaster realm. The weakest, like Li Jiuyang, had just broken through to the Grandmaster realm not long ago. 7 or 8 of them were sect leaders from the outside world. The rest were all groomed by the Sacred Bull Dynasty and held important positions. They were either nobles with great power or trusted subordinates who had close relationships with the Sacred Bull Great Emperor. The 3 brothers of the Jin family? Why are they in such a hurry? Inside the imperial palace, an incomparably sturdy, 9 feet tall man stood in a courtyard. He personally watched as 3 figures flew across the sky, seemingly heading towards the Sacred Ox Great Emperor's location. Although the eldest brother of the Jin family is only at the 4th rank of the Grandmaster realm, it is difficult for him to meet a worthy opponent. What could make them show a faint trace of fear? Interesting. The strong man's eyes showed a trace of curiosity. The next moment, he had several controlling Qi realm warriors carry a battlesuit. This battlesuit was very heavy. The 4 controlling Qi realm warriors were panting as they carried it, but the strong man easily put it on. His aura suddenly became incomparably fierce. Then, he broke through the air and headed towards the Jin family. The three brothers chased after him. The three brothers of the Jin family, why are you flying so fast? The three had just returned from Tianlong to the Sacred Bull dynasty. They were about to report what they had seen and heard to the Sacred Bull Emperor when they heard the chilling voice behind them. No matter what, the three of them were masters of the Master Realm. Someone who could make their expressions change so drastically was definitely not easy to deal with. The eldest of the Jin family turned around with an ugly look on his face. He forced a smile, cupped one hand in the other before his chest and said, "So it is Duke Dingxing." Duke Dingxing smiled at the three and said, "You still haven't told me why you are in such a hurry. Did you get bullied outside? Tell me and I'll help you." The Jin family's eldest brother's eyes slightly moved. Duke Dingxing was extremely belligerent, whether it was in terms of external or internal conflicts. The three of them had already been taught a lesson by him many times. When they were still Xiantian realm warriors, they had already lost to Duke Dingxing several hundred times. Even after reaching the Master Realm, he still couldn't escape Dingxing. If they didn't know that Duke Dingxing only wanted to find someone to fight, the three of them would have long thought of ways to get rid of this person. If I let him go to the Heavenly Dragon Nation. I can't do that. Duke Cauldron Xing likes to fight, but he doesn't have any deep grudges against me. Forget it. The eldest of the Jin family wanted to kill him with a borrowed knife, but after thinking about it carefully, he felt that it was inappropriate. What? Why don't you dare to speak? Don't worry, since you've been my punching bag so many times, I'll take revenge for you. Don't go looking for my big brother. He's researching the Holy Cow's bloodline and isn't very free. Duke Dingxing smiled. To be honest, Duke Dingxing, the three of us were ordered by the great emperor to go to the Heavenly Dragon Nation to help Li Jiuyang, but we encountered something unbelievable. The eldest of the Jin family hesitated for a moment and said, "Something unbelievable?" Duke Dingxing's eyes were filled with curiosity, and he quickly said, "What's so fun? Did we meet some hidden old monster? Is he strong?" "Old monster? Maybe. As for whether he's strong or not, the three of us dare not speculate." The eldest of the Jin family smiled bitterly. In his mind, Ning Qi's palm appeared, and his body couldn't help but tremble. This kind of method, I'm afraid, can no longer be described with the word strong, but terrifying. You don't dare to speculate? Don't keep us guessing. If you don't say it, I'll beat you up. Let's see if you'll say it or not. Duke Dingxing said excitedly, his eyes full of fighting spirit. That existence, just one palm is enough to break the sea. The eldest of the Jin family said with some admiration. Break the sea? Are you kidding me? How can there be such an existence in this world? If you want to destroy a small mountain, I might be able to do it, but it might take more than 1,000 palm strikes. Duke Dingxing was startled, a trace of suspicion in his eyes. Duke Dingxing, believe it or not, it's up to you. This matter is extremely important, closely related to the safety of the Sacred Bull dynasty. We need to meet the Sacred Bull Emperor and personally convey this news to him. The eldest of the Jin family didn't want to waste any more time with Duke Dingxing. In any case, the three of them had seen the other party's terrifying methods with their own eyes. Thinking of the other party's words, the eldest of the Jin family trembled. It was very likely that the Sacred Bull dynasty would disappear from this world soon. Hey! Wait for me! Seeing that the three of them were ignoring him, Duke Dingxing immediately chased after them. Soon, the four of them landed at the entrance of an extremely luxurious palace. Standing on both sides of the entrance were two Xiantian realm martial artists with powerful auras. Their cultivations were above the 6th order of the Xiantian realm. In the outside world, experts like them could easily establish their own sects and live the life of a sect leader. But in the Holy Cow, in the Sacred Bull dynasty's palace, they could only guard the door for the Sacred Bull Emperor. Duke Dingxing? Are the four of you here to meet the Emperor? Seeing the four of them approaching, the two Xiantian realm warriors didn't hesitate and hurriedly stepped forward. Quick, inform my big brother. I'm afraid the three Jin brothers have been beaten senseless. Duke Ding Xing impatiently waved his hand. Hearing this, the three Jin brothers' expressions turned ugly. However, due to the other party's identity, they chose to endure it. Suddenly, they felt an inexplicable anticipation in their hearts. They were looking forward to seeing the expression of the Cauldron Xing Guild when the army of the Heavenly Dragon Country entered the Sacred Bull Dynasty's territory. Yes, Duke Ding Xing. The two Xiantian realm warriors nodded. Then, one of them turned around and entered the main hall. After about 10 minutes, when Duke Ding Xing was getting impatient, he finally appeared. The Emperor has asked the four of you to enter. Go, 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 Jin family's eldest brother. I want to see if you're still the same in front of my big brother. What break the sea? I advise you not to say such things. My big brother's temper is even worse than mine. If he gets angry, you'll lose your lives. Chapter 2180. The Sacred Bull Hall was extremely luxurious. It was more than 30 meters tall. A building of this height was already considered the highest in the Imperial Palace. No other building was taller than this one. The eaves, pillars, and murals were all exquisitely carved. In the middle of the hall sat a figure that was at least 15 meters tall. Even when the Duke of Dingxing walked in front of him, he seemed very small. The three brothers of the Jin family walked in with Duke Xing Ding. When they saw the figure, they quickly knelt down respectfully. Although they were existences in the Master Realm, the person in front of them was the ruler of the Saint Bull Empire, an existence in the 9th level of the Master Realm. He was only half a step away from the Master Realm completion. In this world, there were only 3 people who had reached the 9th level of the Grandmaster Realm. The other 2 were the ruler of the Heavenly Su Dynasty and the ruler of the Zijuan Dynasty. Second brother, what are you doing here? The Sacred Bull Emperor looked at the Duke of Dingxing and asked. Big brother, the 3 brothers of the Jin clan have some important news to report. I'm here to watch the show. The Duke of Dingxing said with a smile. What news? The Sacred Bull Emperor looked at the 3 brothers of the Jin clan. Great Emperor, the mission you gave us this time, we failed. The 3 brothers of the Jin clan looked at each other. Finally, they looked ashamed and cupped their fists. Failed? Could it be that the Heavenly Su Dynasty knows about this and has a way to deal with it? The Sacred Bull Emperor frowned. Yes, someone we can't deal with has appeared. The eldest brother of the Jin clan hesitated for a moment, then told the Sacred Bull Emperor everything he had seen and heard. From Ning Qi's appearance to the methods Ning Qi used that day. He told everything without missing a single detail. The Sacred Bull Emperor's expression became even more serious. After the eldest brother of the Jin clan finished speaking, he suddenly stood up and walked forward. His huge body appeared in front of the 3 brothers of the Jin clan. Instantly, the 3 of them felt a huge pressure and couldn't help but take a few steps back. Is there a single lie in what you have said? The Sacred Bull Emperor asked with a serious expression. Your Majesty, everything we've said is the absolute truth, and there isn't a single lie. If there is, then let the 3 of us be torn to pieces and die without a complete corpse. The 3 brothers of the Jin clan quickly patted their chests and swore. An expert who has surpassed the Master Realm. Since the catastrophe, how can there still be such an expert in this world? The Sacred Bull Emperor lowered his head and muttered. When Duke Dingxing heard this, he was stunned and said, Big brother, do you really believe that there is someone in this world who can break through the Grandmaster Realm? Do you think the Supreme Power Realm is the limit of us martial artists? How ignorant and ill-informed. The Sacred Bull Great Emperor said coldly. Duke Dingxing looked at the Sacred Bull Emperor in astonishment. Big brother, Are you saying that someone can really break through to the Grandmaster realm? What was the next realm? An immortal? The Grandmaster realm could tear through the air and travel, which was already very similar to the legendary immortals. Duke Dingxing couldn't imagine what realm was after the Grandmaster realm. Great Emperor, there is one more thing that the three of us wanted to tell you. He said that the Heavenly Dragon Kingdom will go to war with our Sacred Bull Dynasty. At that time we will either be annihilated, or we will merge with the Heavenly Dragon Kingdom. The eldest brother of the Jin family mustered up his courage and said. After saying this, his heart was beating very fast. He was afraid that the Sacred Bull Great Emperor would suppress the three of them in anger. However, the Sacred Bull Great Emperor's reaction was different from what they had expected. Even when he heard the news, his face was expressionless. On the other hand, Duke Dingxing's eyes were bloodshot. He roared fiercely, "Is this person really so arrogant? I want to see if he really has such a method. The three of you lead the way." "This, second brother, don't cause trouble." The Sacred Bull Great Emperor frowned and shouted coldly. Then, he pondered for a while and said lightly, "Follow me." "Big brother, where are we going?" Duke Dingxing was surprised. The Sacred Bull Great Emperor ignored him and turned to leave. Seeing this, the four of them could only follow. They were nervous and curious, not knowing where the Sacred Bull Great Emperor was going to take them. The Sacred Bull Forbidden Land? The Sacred Bull Great Emperor wants to take us to the Forbidden Land. The four of them, including Duke Dingxing, were all shocked and in disbelief. The Sacred Bull Forbidden Land could only be entered by the Sacred Bull Great Emperor. Even Duke Dingxing wasn't qualified to enter. When he was young, Duke Dingxing wanted to sneak into the Forbidden Land to take a look. In the end, he was discovered by the previous Sacred Bull Great Emperor and was almost beaten to death. If it weren't for the current Sacred Bull Great Emperor, he would have been willing to bear half of the punishment for Duke Dingxing. Perhaps there was no Duke Dingxing anymore. "Big brother, are you really going to take us into the Sacred Land?" Duke Dingxing's eyes revealed a trace of fear. He still had lingering fears when he thought of the past. "Aren't you afraid of nothing? A mere Forbidden Land is enough to make you afraid? Come with me. Now that I am the Sacred Bull Great Emperor, no one can punish you." The Sacred Bull Great Emperor said lightly. When Duke Dingxing heard this, he cursed in his heart. Afraid of his mother. Let's go in. In any case, he had long been curious about everything inside the Forbidden Land. Today, he would take the chance to see what was inside. The three Jin brothers nervously followed behind Duke Dingxing and followed the Sacred Bull Great Emperor into the forbidden area. This place was filled with dense fog. Even with their cultivation, they could only see the backs of the people in front of them. They had no idea what was going on around them. The Sacred Bull Great Emperor seemed to have touched something. The fog suddenly dissipated, and an extremely grand palace that was dozens of feet tall appeared in front of everyone. How could this be? The eldest Jin brother was dumbfounded. There was actually such a huge palace inside, but they couldn't see it at all when they were outside? The Sacred Bull Great Emperor's expression became even more solemn. Soon, he led the four into the palace. The scene in front of them made them suck in a breath of cold air. Their hearts were filled with horror. In the center of the hall, there was a giant scarlet bull that was 40 to 50 feet tall. Its horns were like dragons, and it was staring at the Sacred Bull Great Emperor and the others with its pitch-black eyes that were as deep as gems. There were hundreds of chains piercing through its body, and the chains were stained with blood. It emitted a chilling aura. Ancestor. The Sacred Bull Great Emperor suddenly knelt on the ground. Ancestor? The Duke Dingxing was stunned. The three Jin brothers also couldn't react. At this time, the Sacred Bull Great Emperor's voice exploded in their ears. Kneel. This is my Sacred Bull tribe's ancestor. Plop. The four people knelt on the ground. There was still a trace of confusion and shock in the Duke Dingxing's eyes. How could their sacred bull tribe's ancestor be really a bull? Chapter 2181. Old Ancestor, an expert that far surpasses the Grandmaster realm, has appeared in this world. He wants to destroy our Saint Bull dynasty. Please help us, Old Ancestor, the Sacred Bull Great Emperor said respectfully. Surpassing the 5th rank of refining chi? Can't you solve such a small matter yourself? The giant bull's voice became incomparably cold. It emitted a terrifying pressure that pressed down on the Sacred Ox Great Emperor's group of 5. The cultivation of the 3 Gene brothers was relatively low, and they directly vomited blood. Duke Cauldron Shing fell to the ground with a boom. Only the Sacred Bull Great Emperor was able to hold on. The Sacred Bull Great Emperor's face revealed a trace of horror, and his body couldn't help but tremble. After about 4 or 5 breaths of time, everyone suddenly felt the pressure on their bodies disappear. Only then did they heave a long sigh of relief. The Duke of Dingxing carefully looked up and saw that the giant bull's face seemed to reveal a trace of fear. A trace of exhaustion? This is the only immortal artifact I have hidden away. Take it. After you kill that fellow, remember to return it to me. The giant bull opened its mouth and a long sword flew out. With a buzzing sound, it stabbed into the ground in front of the Sacred Bull Great Emperor. The aura that the sword gave off was even more terrifying than the giant bull's aura. The Sacred Bull Great Emperor revealed a look of pleasant surprise. He went up and grabbed the hilt of the sword, but it didn't budge at all. What's the rush? I haven't removed the restrictive spell yet. With your cultivation base, you won't even be able to lift it. A hint of mockery could be seen in the eyes of the giant bull. After that, it lightly spat out a few syllables. These syllables transformed into golden runes that flew into the longsword. In the next moment, everyone could feel the aura of the longsword weakening at a speed visible to the naked eye. Very quickly, the aura of the longsword disappeared. It was as terrifying as before. The Sacred Bull Great Emperor pulled once more and finally managed to pull the sword out. He instantly felt a surge of chi from the sword entering his body. In the next moment, the Duke of Cauldron Shing and the others watched in horror as the Sacred Bull Great Emperor's chi continued to rise. Very soon, it rose to a level they couldn't even fathom. To this extent, Big Brother, Duke Dingxing was dumbfounded. So this is the realm beyond the Master Realm. So powerful, the Sacred Bull Great Emperor inspected his body and discovered that the true chi in his body had increased by tens of times. At this moment, he was confident that he could kill an existence of the same level as him with a single strike. Thank you, Elder Ancestor. The Sacred Bull Great Emperor excitedly kowtowed to the giant bull. Get out. The giant bull said lightly. Yes. The Sacred Bull Great Emperor nodded respectfully, then bowed again and slowly retreated out of the hall. Big Brother, with your current cultivation, don't tell me. Duke Cauldron Shing first looked at the hall in fear, then looked at the Sacred Bull Great Emperor with anticipation. That's right. With my current cultivation, I should have broken through the shackles of the Master Realm. This is all thanks to this sword. Did you hear that? The old ancestor called it an immortal artifact. Now, do you know where our Sacred Ox clan's inheritance comes from? A long time ago we may have been legends, immortals. The Sacred Bull Great Emperor smiled and gently stroked the longsword in his hand. Duke Dingxing and the 3 Gene brothers looked at each other in shock. They would probably need a long time to digest today's events. With this sword, perhaps, the Great Emperor doesn't need to fear that existence anymore. After the eldest of the Gene family thought of this point, his heart that had been perturbed along the way suddenly calmed down. Instead, it was replaced by ecstasy. Not long after the Sacred Bull Emperor's group of 5 left, The giant bull slowly opened its eyes and looked up at the sky. Its eyes revealed a trace of desolation. So many years have passed. It's about time for him to return, right? The divine general country has been destroyed. It has been annexed by Tianlong country. More than 300 Xiantian realm warriors and 6 grandmasters have appeared in Tianlong country. All of them are from the Zhao family. It is suspected that Tianlong country has an immortal descending to the mortal world. A Bei-Xian divine sect has appeared and swept the world. Countless believers have joined the sect. Like a plague, the news spread throughout the entire Sky Void dynasty. The big and small countries under the Sky Void dynasty all acted as if they were facing a great enemy after receiving the news. They were afraid that Sky Dragon country would attack them one day. Because of this, many of the country leaders had already sent messengers to Sky Dragon country. All they wanted was peace. 100 Mountain City was one of the first to receive the news. All the cultivators and citizens were excited because they knew that the Zhao family, which had more than 300 Xiantian realm warriors, was the Zhao family. When Huang Batian heard about this, he also received a message from his daughter, causing his expression to become incredibly terrified. He personally went to the Zhao manor and prepared to give up all of the Huang family's businesses. However, the Zhao manor's gates were tightly shut, and Huang Batian felt incredibly worried. Huang Batian decided to go to the imperial city. This was what his daughter had told him. No matter what, he had to settle the grudge between the Huang family and the Zhao family. Otherwise, he would be doomed forever. Let me tell you, I was here that day. I saw the sect leader's palm with my own eyes. TSK, it's a pity that you didn't see it with your own eyes. Look at this place. When there is a storm, a lake will appear here. Such power, such means, and you still dare to doubt the sect leader? Where did he come from? He must be a celestial being who descended from the heavens. Groups of martial artists gathered around the huge palm print that Ning Qi had created. Many of them were followers of the North Mystic Divine Sect. They were explaining to the others what had happened that day with their saliva flying all over the place. The surrounding martial artists were stunned as they listened to their stories. Then, they looked at each other. They looked at the giant palm print in front of them, which could not be fake. Their eyes were filled with admiration. At this moment, there were 3 men and 2 women standing next to the giant palm print, silently feeling the remaining celestial qi. Finally, the tallest man looked at the crowd and said, "Perhaps the information we received is true. This isn't a small trick played by the Heavenly Dragon Nation, but someone really did kill us. Instead, there is a mark left by a palm strike. Master, is there really such a godly person in this world? Doesn't that mean that the Tianshu dynasty is in danger?" The remaining 2 men and 2 women were shocked. If the other party really had such means, how many palm strikes could the Tianshu dynasty withstand? If we want to know whether it's true or not, why don't we pay him a visit and find out? The Heavenly Void Emperor smiled. Hearing this, his 4 direct disciples became serious. After all, they were going to meet the legendary sect leader of the North Xian Divine Sect. Chapter 2182. Invite him in, Gan Su said in a deep voice. In the past, if the great Emperor Tian Su came, Gan Su would welcome him at least 100 miles away. But now, Tianlong country was different from before. There were 6 masters in the Grandmaster realm and hundreds of innate realm masters. There was also a celestial being. In Gan Su's eyes, the great Emperor Tian Su was no longer a threat. An invincible and terrifying existence was reduced to an ordinary person. Not long later, 5 figures entered the palace. Many people in the palace looked uneasy. After all, Emperor Tian Su's name had been known for a long time. Emperor Tian Su has come personally today. Please forgive me for not going out to greet you, Gonsu smiled and cupped his fist. Tiansu glanced at Gonsu indifferently before sweeping his gaze across the crowd. His gaze lingered on Qianlong and the rest for a moment before returning to Gonsu. He smiled and said, "Gonsu, let's not beat around the bush. Today, I'm here to see the sect leader of the North Profound Divine Sect. Can you introduce me to him?" Gonsu was stunned and looked at Qianlong. "Master is usually in seclusion. I wonder if you have time to meet Emperor Tiansu." Qianlong stood up and smiled. Anger flashed across the eyes of the 4 direct disciples behind Tiansu. Their master was the leader of the Tiansu dynasty. Who in the world could he not meet? Coming to Tianlong was already a humbleness. Yet the other party was so rude. They had never been treated this way before. "However, I can send a message for the great empress. Please come with me." Qianlong smiled and walked out of the palace. Seeing this, Emperor Tiansu smiled and followed. He had cultivated to his current realm, and his mentality had been trained to the extreme. He would not be angry at Qianlong's attitude. Deep in the palace, there was a secluded courtyard. It was simple and unadorned. Qianlong brought the 5 to the door. He looked at Emperor Tiansu and entered the courtyard. "Master, the leader of the North Xian Divine Sect is so extravagant. He made you wait here personally," a female disciple mumbled unhappily. Although the other 3 did not dare to speak, it was obvious from their expressions that they had the same thought as the female disciple. "Lu Dai, don't be rude," Heavenly Oasis said calmly. "Yes, master." The female disciple called Lu Dai nodded. Not long after, Qianlong returned to the crowd. He nodded at Tiansu and said, "Great Emperor, Master has agreed to see you, but he is currently practicing. Don't disturb him until he is done." Boxing? Shouldn't this kind of thing be avoided? Why did they still let them in? Even Heavenly Oasis felt that this was strange. However, since Qianlong was willing to see them, they did not care about this and followed Qianlong into the courtyard. In the courtyard, Ningqi was slowly practicing Tai Chi. He increasingly felt that this fist technique was hiding some sort of profound mystery. It was just that with his current cultivation, he was unable to discover it. However, ever since he started practicing Tai Chi, Ningqi's primordial immortal fiend god physique became more and more harmonious. The process was very smooth, and it didn't feel as abrupt as before. Furthermore, the demonic aura on the demonic body was gradually weakening, but not only did its strength not weaken, it actually grew stronger. If I cultivate the Taiji fist to the extreme, will the various forces in my body fuse into one? If I can really reach this level, my strength will probably increase by several folds. At that time, who can say for sure whether I am an immortal or a demon? What kind of fist technique is this? Can it be used to attack someone so slowly? The few people who were originally looking forward to Ningqi's fist technique were instantly stunned. Their eyes gradually became filled with doubt. Only Heavenly Oasis's expression did not change. Instead, he looked at Ningqi's fist technique very seriously. Gradually, his eyes revealed a trace of doubt. At first glance, this fist technique seemed very simple. However, when he looked closely, he could see that there was something special about it. However, what exactly was it? He was temporarily unable to see through it. After about an hour, the female disciple called Lu Dai finally could not take it anymore. She said in a low voice, "Even a 3-year-old can't kill such a fist technique." Qianlong looked coldly at Lu Dai. The killing intent in his eyes was not concealed at all. "Lu Dai, shut up." Heavenly Oasis frowned and scolded. "Master, junior sister is right. This fist technique indeed can't kill." "That's right." At that moment, Ningqi slowly withdrew his fist and smiled at Heavenly Oasis. Seeing this, Heavenly Oasis revealed an awkward expression. He took a step forward and said, "I am Heavenly Oasis. These are my disciples. Sorry for making you laugh." It's normal for ordinary people to not be able to see through the secret of this Tai Chi fist. If they could understand it, it would be abnormal instead. Ning Qi smiled and said. Deliberately mystifying, Lu Dai's small face showed a hint of dissatisfaction. Actually, from the beginning, she had been very dissatisfied with the sect leader of the North Mystic Divine Sect. The main reason was that she felt that her master had been wronged here. With her master's status, even if he did not come out to welcome them, he should have taken the initiative to greet them. In the end, he stayed in a shabby courtyard and even made them wait to be informed. That's enough. Qianlong looked coldly at Lu Dai. The atmosphere seemed to have become somewhat tense. Ning Qi waved his hand, indicating that Qianlong was fine. Then, he smiled at Heavenly Oasis and said, "Why are you here today?" Rumor has it that the sect leader of the North Mystic Divine Sect is an immortal-like figure. I have never seen an immortal in my entire life. I came here today to see if there are really immortals in this world. Heavenly Oasis cupped his fists and said, "Immortality? Even immortals will die. If we're talking about immortality, perhaps that person is the only one who can live forever." Ning Qi smiled faintly and looked up at the sky. Little Six had said that even immortal emperors could only live for tens of thousands of years. To ordinary people, this amount of time was immeasurable and was no different from immortality. However, to immortals, this was also a number with an end. At a high level, one's seclusion could last tens of thousands of years, or even hundreds of thousands of years. Even millions of years, or even tens of thousands of years, were not that far away. Perhaps only the heavenly Tao that people could not touch and understand was the true immortality. However, it was unknown if the heavenly Tao had its own will or if it was the natural order of the universe. Immortals can also die? Heavenly Oasis was slightly stunned. Then, a trace of astonishment appeared in his eyes. If this person could say such a thing, could he really be an immortal that descended from heaven? You have achieved your goal today. Please leave. Ning Qi smiled and waved his hand. Does he really think that he is an immortal? The 4 disciples of Heavenly Oasis looked at Ning Qi strangely. A guest has arrived. Interesting. Chapter 2183. The Sacred Bull Emperor? The tens of millions of people in the imperial city raised their heads in astonishment. Most of them subconsciously shivered. After all, the Sacred Bull Great Emperor was a legendary figure to them. He was one of the 3 strongest people in this world. Who would have thought that he would personally come to the imperial city of Tianlong country? He came to kill the immortal today. Is he talking to the leader of the Beixian Divine Sect? Interesting. The Sacred Bull Emperor dared to come even though he knows that the immortal is extremely powerful. He is indeed an emperor-level figure. Many warriors who hadn't seen Ning Qi's methods with their own eyes showed a trace of anticipation at this moment. Some of them came from very far-away places, some were experts of the godly general nation, and some were existences who had secluded themselves in the Sky Dragon Nation. Ever since they learned that the godly general nation had been defeated by the Sky Dragon Nation, ever since they learned that the godly general nation was defeated by Tianlong, they all came out of seclusion and gathered in the imperial city. Inside the imperial palace, when Gonsu and the others heard the Sacred Bull Great Emperor's voice, they all walked out of the main hall and looked up at the sky with a serious expression. They saw a strong man in silver armor standing in the air. This man's height was extraordinary. He was more than twice the height of a normal person. He was at least 5 meters tall. It is indeed the Sacred Bull Emperor. In this world, only the bloodline of the Sacred Bull tribe can become so huge under the stimulation of true Yuan. He came to kill the immortal today. Could it be because of that person? No matter what his purpose is, he will definitely die this time. The leaders of the major sects looked at each other, and then at Ding Feng and the others. The Sacred Bull Emperor. Lu Dai and the others looked at the figure in the air with their mouths agape. He came too. Could it be? Tian Su's expression was strange. He looked at the Sacred Bull Emperor and then at Ningqi. Master, I thought that the Sacred Bull dynasty would disappear for a while. I did not expect the Sacred Bull Emperor to come personally. As long as we kill him, the Sacred Bull dynasty will collapse on its own. Qianlong cupped his hands and said. Ningqi smiled and said to Tian Su, Does your Tian Su dynasty have any trump cards? Tian Su was stunned. What do you mean? If you don't have any trump cards, then your Tian Su dynasty and Zijuan dynasty together will not be a match for the Sacred Bull Emperor. You are lucky that he did not swallow up your two dynasties. Ningqi smiled. How is this possible? Master alone is enough to deal with the Sacred Bull Emperor. Green Butterfly curled her lips. What do you mean? Heavenly Oasis' expression became serious. Do you see the sword in his hand? That's a fairy weapon. With a fairy weapon in his hand, not to mention those in the Guru realm, even those 2 realms higher would be defeated by his sword. Ningqi smiled. 2 more realms? Heavenly Oasis and Qianlong's expressions changed. Green Butterfly and the others looked at Ningqi as if they were looking at a liar who was full of lies. Not to mention 2 great realms, they had never even seen a realm higher than the Grandmaster realm. What kind of concept was 2 great realms? It didn't exist at all. What? Didn't they say that immortals had descended to the mortal world? But now he doesn't dare to come out? Gansu, how long do you want to hide in the palace? The Sacred Bull Great Emperor let out a long laugh, and his voice spread in all directions with the help of his quintessential essence. How dare you? How dare you insult Sect Master? The Sacred Bull Great Emperor was disrespectful to an immortal, so he must die without a burial. Your time of death is here. Suddenly, a wave of cursing came from the imperial city. The Sacred Bull Great Emperor looked down and frowned slightly. Some of the people cursing at him weren't even martial artists, they were only quintessential essence realm martial artists. Normally, these people wouldn't even have the courage to speak to him. But today, they actually dared to curse him with such malicious words? In the distance, Duke Ding Sheng and the 3 Jin brothers didn't go near the imperial city for safety reasons. When Duke Ding Sheng heard the curses coming from the imperial city, he almost couldn't hold it in anymore. The eldest Jin brother hurriedly pulled him back. Duke Ding Sheng, bear with it a little longer. After the Sacred Bull Great Emperor kills that person, you can kill everyone in the imperial city of Sky Dragon. It's fine too. Let them breathe a little longer. Duke Ding Sheng sneered. Sacred Bull Great Emperor, why didn't you go to Heavenly Oasis Dynasty or Zijuan Dynasty? Why did you come to my tiny Sky Dragon country? Gansu said loudly. Although he couldn't break through the air, his voice was only slightly weaker than the Sacred Bull Great Emperor's. Ding Feng and the rest stood beside Gansu and stared coldly at the Sacred Bull Great Emperor. It was as if they were looking at a corpse. You're finally willing to come out? I heard that an immortal from your Sky Dragon country has descended. Tell him to come out and die. Today, I'm here to kill this immortal. The Sacred Bull Great Emperor laughed maniacally. Suddenly, his body emitted a terrifying aura. His body grew at a speed visible to the naked eye. Not long after, he became a 2 tall giant. This aura is far beyond the Grandmaster realm. The Sacred Bull Great Emperor has broken through? Everyone was shocked. They looked at the Sacred Bull Great Emperor with a trace of doubt in their eyes. Most of them had seen the Sacred Bull Great Emperor and the Heavenly Oasis Great Emperor before. At this moment, the Sacred Bull Great Emperor's aura had far surpassed the Heavenly Oasis Great Emperor's. There was only one possibility. He had broken through the shackles of the Grandmaster realm and stepped into a whole new world. This is because of the celestial sword? The heavenly oasis Great Emperor immediately reacted. There was no reason for the sacred bull Great Emperor to suddenly break through and enter the next realm. He thought about the celestial sword that Ningqi had mentioned. It was most likely because of this sword that the sacred bull Great Emperor had such strength. No wonder he said that even the heavenly oasis dynasty and the Zijuan dynasty combined would not be a match for this bull. I didn't expect him to have such a trump card. If you want to know, go and meet him personally. Ningqi smiled. The sacred bull Great Emperor is not here to look for master. Green Butterfly blurted out. In her heart, she had already regarded Ningqi as a complete liar. Otherwise, why would he ask her master to take the blame? The heavenly oasis Great Emperor did not think so. He looked at the sacred bull Great Emperor with a serious expression. In the next moment, his figure broke through the air and appeared in front of the sacred bull Great Emperor. Heavenly oasis? You're here too? The sacred bull Great Emperor was slightly stunned. Bull, you've broken through to the Grandmaster realm? The heavenly oasis Great Emperor said in a deep voice. I guess so. Chapter 2184. Sort of. As expected, your strength comes from this celestial sword. There was a flash of understanding in Tian Su's eyes. He was a little envious. He and the sacred bull Great Emperor had known each other for a long time. When they were young, they were rivals. In the end, they both reached the 9th rank of the Grandmaster realm and became the rulers of the dynasty. It could be said that the story between him and the sacred bull Great Emperor was very complicated. It could be said that the sacred bull Emperor had such a trump card. Heavenly Ogre, did you come here today to join forces with that person to fight against me? The sacred bull Emperor's lips curled up. So what if I did? So what if I didn't? Heavenly Ogre smiled. Yes, I will use this sword to kill you. The person you raised is only at the 5th rank of the Grandmaster realm. He won't be able to support the Heavenly Ogre dynasty. If he isn't, then stand on my side. Let's join forces and kill that person. The sacred bull Emperor smiled. Actually, I want to see how strong someone who has surpassed the Grandmaster realm is. Why don't we fight first and then I will tell you my answer? Heavenly Ogre smiled. If that's the case, don't blame my sword for being merciless. The sacred bull Emperor laughed coldly. The next moment, his figure disappeared. When he reappeared, he was in front of Heavenly Ogre. When the cultivators in the imperial city saw this, their hearts jumped to their throat. They were extremely nervous, especially Heavenly Ogre's 4 disciples. They were the most nervous. Rumble, rumble, rumble. In less than 10 breaths of time, Heavenly Ogre's arms had been chopped off by the sacred bull Emperor. His heart was also pierced. Heavenly Ogre, if you stand on my side, you won't have to die. The two of them were less than an inch apart. A trace of pity flashed through the sacred bull Great Emperor's eyes. The enemy he had fought against for so many years had suddenly died. It made him feel a sense of loss as if his heart had been hollowed out. Is this the power of someone who has surpassed the Grandmaster realm? Heavenly Ogre's face was pale. He grinned. To be able to feel this power before I die, I am already satisfied. Humph. The sacred bull Emperor harumphed and kicked Heavenly Ogre. Heavenly Ogre immediately slid down from the sword and fell towards Ningqi. At the same time, a stream of blood shot out. Great Emperor Tian Su is dead? Gon Su and the others stared at this scene in shock. A dignified great emperor, the ruler of the Sky Void Empire, had died in front of them in just a few breaths? Master! When Green Butterfly and the rest saw this, they let out a heart-wrenching scream. One by one, they flew up, intending to catch Great Emperor Tian Su. In the end, before they could react, there was already a figure in the air, firmly holding on to Great Emperor Tian Su. Master Beixian. It's the cult master. Sect master has appeared. The sacred bull Great Emperor will definitely die today. The sect master is a celestial being. There's no way he's a match for the sect master. The imperial city immediately boiled over. Whether it was the nobles or the commoners, when they saw Ning Qi, their eyes were filled with fanaticism. Release master! Green Butterfly screamed, and with tears streaming down her face, she stabbed Ning Qi's back. How dare you! Qian Long reacted immediately and soared into the sky. However, before he could reach Green Butterfly's sword had already landed on Ning Qi. However, a faint layer of golden light appeared on Ning Qi's body, blocking the sword force. When Qian Long saw this, he heaved a sigh of relief. However, the way he looked at Green Butterfly was filled with unconcealable murderous intent. This woman had repeatedly offended Ning Qi. If not for Ning Qi's orders, he would not have cared if she was the personal disciple of Great Emperor Tian Su or if she was a grandmaster. Even if he had to mobilize 1,000,000 troops, he would kill this woman. Seeing that Green Butterfly was about to attack, before Qian Long could do anything, her senior brothers and junior sisters hurriedly stopped Green Butterfly. Junior sister, don't be rash. But master is in his hands. This senior has no reason to kill master. Let's observe the situation first. Green Butterfly gradually calmed down and glared at the sacred bull Great Emperor. Then, she looked worriedly at the sky void in Ning Qi's hand. At that moment, the sky void's aura was very weak. Are you the guy who claimed to be an immortal? Hee, it seems like you do have some tricks up your sleeve. The sacred bull Great Emperor looked at Ning Qi and smiled faintly. A trace of fear flashed in the depths of his eyes. If he did not have the celestial sword that the elder had lent him, he was sure that he would not be Ning Qi's opponent. This was a cultivator's sixth sense. I have finally seen the skills of someone above the Grandmaster realm. It's a pity that the price is too high. The sky void smiled weakly at Ning Qi. As long as you are still breathing, it's fine. The price is not too high. Ning Qi smiled. When the sacred bull Great Emperor saw that Ning Qi was ignoring him and talking to someone who was about to die, his eyes flashed with anger. However, before he could do anything, Ning Qi's hand suddenly emitted a faint white light. When this white light touched the sky void, it instantly enveloped his entire body. Then, everyone saw an unbelievable scene. The sky void's severed arms slowly grew back. The wound on his chest was also healing, and his aura gradually grew stronger. In less than 20 breaths of time, a complete sky void appeared in front of everyone. The only difference was that his clothes had become short-sleeved, and there was a hole in his chest. Ning Qi let go of his hand, and the sky void floated in the air. He looked at his hands in shock, then at his chest. Then, he looked at Ning Qi in disbelief. He was extremely shocked. He was extremely sure that his heart had been pierced by the sacred bull Great Emperor's sword. He was about to die. Indeed, he found that his body was very good. Even some of the hidden injuries that he had suffered in the past had disappeared. Living dead, flesh and bones? This is the skill of an immortal. Those who didn't really believe in Ning Qi's existence opened their mouths wide and stared at Ning Qi in shock. Gradually, a hint of fanaticism appeared in their eyes. As for those who originally believed in Ning Qi, when they saw that Ning Qi had another skill that could better reflect his identity as an immortal, their faith in him strengthened once again. Master Lu Dai looked at Heavenly Oasis with a stunned expression. After confirming that Heavenly Oasis had completely recovered from his injuries, she looked at Ning Qi with a trace of fear in her eyes. Ning Qi's methods were beyond her understanding of this world. There was actually someone who could regrow severed limbs. How was this possible? Go stand to the side. Ning Qi chuckled. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.